Oh, oh man, dude. Gosh, we had a show set for today that was going to center on the rifle. And then, okay, then Candace went live last night and she changed things, okay? She changed things in a real big way because guess what, dude? She went through the, hey, you guys, anybody want to comment on the fact that they did a fake service, a fake funeral service? It was like, huh, you don't say. Weird, dude. Are you serious? A fake service? Why would they have done that? You know? Time will tell if we can take a look at that, and then we can revisit some of my coverage on this exact thing from 4 months ago. And because I have a big piece of that puzzle, okay? A really big piece of that puzzle. So we're going to rock and roll. And oh my God. Thanks, God. I just lost all my tabs. So whatever, doesn't matter. We're going to get started with the Candace stuff in a second. But I am also going to show you guys, once we have time at the end, I'm going to show you guys. I'm sorry. By the way, we have now merch links in the description. Okay, we have the merch links. We have the new clips channel. And we have the Discord, okay? All three of those things. So real quick, merch is live. Now, I don't want to get too in-depth on how we're managing merch like at this exact moment. However, I am launching a clothing line, so this is going to be separate from this. So what I did is I told my viewers, I'm like, if you want to launch a Jesse on Fire, like, you know, branded like merch store, rock and roll. I'll like show me what your designs are. I'll approve them. And you can rock because I'm gonna have a new branding anyway, and so this branding is gonna kind of like remain all that. And so Jamie, one of my viewers and mods, launched this store, and the merch is the bomb. The only reason I'm not wearing one of those shirts today is because I'm wearing this for a reason. For a reason we will discuss later. Okay. Now the other thing, the Clips store. I'm sorry, the Clips channel is also in the description. That is that's rocking because I do a lot of live streams now. And so there are hours and hours and hours and hours and hours of footage. And so we're cutting, 9-10 minute clips, putting them up there. So you can go subscribe to that. And then the Discord right now is 12:07 at 2 p.m. We're doing my weekly exclusive Discord call where I get on the stage and everybody who's a member of the Discord can come on, and you guys, it's literally a Zoom call. We literally have like 6 people in this call. Okay. Like if you, it's like, it's like $10 a month or whatever. We have it as like for the Discord. You could talk to us in there throughout the day. And then once a week, come on. And I'm talking to people. I'm talking to somebody about their project, like immediately following that. So you guys can check all that stuff out. All right. So let me go ahead and pull up the first of the Candace stuff from yesterday, and I'm going to let that play a little bit while I pull up my lost tabs that I just lost for everything. And oh, look at this, you guys, new members. What's up, you guys? The exclusive member stuff is also available to you guys. There's like 100 something videos that are in members only. I always tell everybody, go back to the beginning. Like, go to the very beginning, because the earliest members ones are like me telling all these stories from my from like college and all this crazy stuff. I think the first one I told was about when my first college girlfriend, she told me she was going to a birthday party and that she'd call me later. I never heard from her. This is like early enough that I'm not like, I don't even know, whatever. Never heard from her. Next day, it was her birthday. Went to her house, found a used condom in her trash. So one of the best nights of my life, one of the best nights of my life. Oh, wait. So I never heard from you. Someone put a used condom in your trash. Tell me a story. Tell me a story. How did that get there? It's hilarious now, actually, to think about. But anyway, that's why I became such a broken person. Anyway, all right. So Joe Jersey gifted 5 memberships. Now 5 of you guys just got them lucky. Congratulations. All right, so let's rock and roll here. I'm going to pull this up now, and we're going to start looking at what Candace put together. Now, in case there's anybody who is not aware of this, okay, I am about the most open-minded person you will ever meet. I have no, like, I won't dismiss any theories of anything until I can look at something and go, okay, that proves it. That's not possible. And, you know, like maybe, I don't know, 6 months ago, someone whose opinion I respect immensely brought the theory that Charlie had faked his death to me. And I was like, okay, that is absurd, ludicrous, in fact. And it just got put into my algorithm where each piece of evidence that like would come through, I would go, okay, yada, yada. You say, so what does this mean? What does this mean? What does this mean? Is it, you know, like, where does it land on this like 0.1% chance that he juked it? And I ran it through. And then once enough things were like, man, that actually would answer that. Like, how is it even possible? Too many people would have to be involved. But all the way up to where I was like, I think this actually might be real. And I created an entire series on it. So as we get into missing body, stuff like that, and when I'm going to be referencing stuff that I have put out months ago, it's from that series. Because listen, dude, like, if maybe this whole thing is a hoax to make sure that Charlie does not go to prison, in addition to, you know, pushing the narrative in the direction that would have, if they pulled it off, supplied ironclad control of the American government for the next like 12 years, if it would have worked, as opposed to have not worked at all and blew up in their face. When you get to missing body, you start, hey, my ears start perking up and people start tagging me all over the internet because somehow I became the Charlie's Alive guy, which is hilarious. But because again, I don't know anything for sure, but I do know that I know a lot more about this particular story than most people. So here is Candace last night. Let's rock and roll.
Can I have one thing? Can we have?
And if you guys have not subscribed to the channel yet, that would be amazing. And like the stream too, if you don't mind.
Have one thing. Can we have the truth? Can we have the truth? I would like to actually talk primarily today about Charlie's funeral, Charlie's burial, the turning point, extreme sensitivity, a new sensitivity, I might add, because as we showed you a couple of days ago, actually, if you roll back the tape, they were initially very open about Charlie's body. So to recap, on September 10th, at some point in the early afternoon, I think I have said to you guys in the past that it was Stacey Sheridan, but I've actually been told that it was allegedly Elizabeth McCoy that was recording Erica in Charlie's open casket in Utah. That's September 11th, midday.
Hey, that was normal, huh? Hey, there was nothing weird about that at all. Hey guys, so let's go ahead and make sure that we have her mic'd up, and let's make sure that we capture this incredibly somber moment where the widow of, this massive political figure who all of us care deeply about, where his corpse is right there, and she's going to drape herself over his corpse. We won't get to see him. We'll only get to see his hands, and she's going to have an incredibly intimate moment while mic'd up. Now, I don't know how many of you guys watched WWE in like the early 2000s. I did not. However, I watched a bunch of documentaries about them on Netflix. And so I got caught up on like the kayfabe era, right? Where they just started manufacturing all of these insane plot lines. I was reminded almost exactly of something I saw from the Netflix documentary when one of the wrestlers, this is embarrassing that I don't even know this, but I'm like a UFC guy. So generally speaking, if you come from like real martial arts, WWE is a challenge for you, which it was the case for me. But one of the guys got into the coffin with his deceased character that he was in love with, whatever. And I literally looked at that. Like, as soon as I saw that clip, I was like, this reminds me of that. This is way before I was even entertaining that this might not be real, and it was like, this makes me feel dirty.
Ish. And then at 5:27 p.m. later that day in Arizona, local time, the local news station, Sky News, reported openly, so we're not breaking this news, that Charlie was headed to Hanson Mortuary in Phoenix. I'm going to show you that clip here.
So if you are just joining us here on streaming, it is 5:27 Phoenix time. About an hour ago, Air Force Two landed at Sky Harbor Airport, which is the Phoenix Metro's main airport here, with the body of Charlie Kirk, his family, and the vice president.
And as we are giving you a live look here from Sky 12, we can see that motorcade come around the bend here. And clearly you can see the law enforcement has cleared the way for this procession. And it looks like that the white hearse is possibly in the front there. It's kind of hard to see, but, you know, obviously making its way from the freeway to the streets and ending up at Hanson Mortuary.
Okay, so that was reported. Everyone knew where he was going. They saw what time he landed and that he was heading to Hanson Mortuary in Phoenix. On September 12th, okay, so the day after that, Charlie is back in Phoenix at Hanson Mortuary, and Erica moves to post the footage that Elizabeth actually captured the day before in Utah.
Yeah. So that image right there is like, I feel like every time I look at this stuff, like I feel like I need to just say this as like a disclaimer. Okay. In the event that what I'm proposing as a possibility is wrong and Charlie was actually murdered by Tyler Robinson, I cannot stress this enough. I apologize. I feel horrible about having even floated this idea, and pictures like this make me physically ill on the inside. However, the fact that I feel like I need to disclaim that should tell you how confident I would need to be that this is a real possibility for me to even float it in the first place. But yeah, anyway, this image makes me feel terrible, except when I know that they are subsequently going to mic her up, which makes absolutely no sense. No one would do that. Absolutely no one would do that if they weren't selling a thing, in my opinion. Oh, also, yeah, like nothing that I say during this stream is a statement of fact. All my opinion, obviously. Thank you, baby. Okay, thank you. Let's continue.
Moves to post that footage of her lying over Charlie's open casket onto social media. Again, it is relevant that footage was actually captured the day before, because if you were paying attention to the local news, you may have wrongly deduced that this footage was taken in Phoenix, but it was not. And I also want to note that is an open casket that you're seeing in Utah.
Yes, it is.
Fast forwarding to September 20th at around 11 o'clock a.m., Charlie is no longer at Hanson. He is now having a Catholic funeral mass that is held at a Catholic church that Charlie regularly attends. And this is in the middle of the day. And so immediately you should be asking yourself, why the change? Why the change? The mass was not hidden from the public. Okay. It obviously was not open to the public, but it was not hidden from the public, as it occurred at the same time as mass.
Oh, actually, this is really important real quick. Hey, on in the chat for mods, like, people disagreeing is completely fine in here. Like, don't ban anyone or time them out just for being like, oh, this is crazy, whatever. Like, that's completely fine. If people are disrespectful, you know, obviously do whatever. But like, people can disagree. That's don't bang people for that stuff, obviously. Sorry, let's continue.
This was going on for local parishioners. They observed the hearse. They exactly what the news was reporting. They observed that. But like I said, it wasn't open to the public. So this was not something they were trying to keep super hush hush. The question that's relevant here is, why would you go from Hanson to now Catholic? Okay, this represents a total sea change in narrative. Lest we forget, there was an entire Mockingbird campaign which was launched to attack me after I publicly asserted that there were rumblings that Charlie was close to converting, that we were hoping that he would. Catholics were hoping that he would. It was a conversation that was happening even between me and Charlie, like, take the next step, take the next step. And this just set them off. It was something that was a high priority in the immediate aftermath of Charlie's assassination for Turning Point to come out and to clarify. And by clarify, I mean to shut that down. Like, this is not true. Okay. It was high priority, so much so that their spokesperson, Andrew Colvett, joined Alex Clark's show and took down that insinuation. And I want you to take a listen so that you remember what was said.
Was he becoming Catholic?
No. But he really loved Catholic Mass. He loved the ritual of it. He loved the beauty of old Catholic churches and the stained glass.
And him and Erica would go sometimes.
Yeah, well, Erica's a cradle Catholic, but she ended up kind of like me. I grew up Catholic and First Communion and went to Catholic high school. But then I ended up becoming a Christian in college through a Protestant church, through a non-denominational kind of.
Okay, first of all, let's call a spade, okay? No one loves Catholic Mass, okay? I have been to 1,000 of them. I'm just saying, it's not like super fun. You do it if you know what, this is not relevant at all to this, but let's continue.
More experience. It's actually Presbyterian, and then it was kind of non-denominational. And I think Erica kind of follows that same path. She and I share that.
Also, by the way, I just want to draw attention.
I'm just kidding. I do too. I was just going to make a joke I realized I'm like, this is, if people are like new to this channel, they're not going to realize I'm joking. So I'm just not going to say it.
She's posted a photo of her and Charlie and the kids in Mass before. And somebody in the comment section said, "Oh, are you guys converting?" And she said, "No, we just like attending sometimes." So she herself had said no.
They're making it clear. There was no conversion happening. And even though Erica was a cradle Catholic, and they're telling the truth, by the way, we know this. Erica talks about this on podcasts. Erica very much represented herself as non-denominational. She's got tons of pastors. Everyone's saying, "I'm Erica's pastor. I'm Charlie's pastor." But they wanted to shut down the idea that Charlie or Erica was Catholic. And what you should know about that is I am told that Andrew, this was pre-recorded. And throughout this conversation, you can see little cuts because Andrew was texting with Erica throughout this recording to ensure that he was okay with what he was saying and what he was sharing. So this public messaging had her stamp of approval. And again, to be clear, it was a pre-record, which took place before Charlie's Catholic funeral mass. A day later, after saying this, you moved to have a Catholic funeral mass. Does that make any sense?
Nope.
Just run that back. Does that make sense in your head? Neither Erica or Charlie are Catholic. They just liked to go in, smells and bells, but they were committed non-denominational.
Wait.
And then
let's come back to this when we're discussing things later. I'm actually curious why. No, I'm saying you guys, I'm saying like I've been to more Catholic services than any other denomination by 1,000 miles. I was making a joke. Here to remind y'all to have a blessed day. Brian, thank you very much. Brian Blessed. Appreciate you, dude. And I second that.
Evangelical for Charlie. So pardon my common sense here. I know that's not allowed. But if you had planned to bury Charlie, who was not a Catholic, according to you, in a Catholic cemetery, why would you not just have him immediately transported to a Catholic funeral home rather than having him moved from Hanson? Moving him suggests that something went wrong, okay? I've been around. You don't just opt to move dead bodies between funeral homes.
Also, I'm reading the chat. Also important that sometimes I feel like I have to restate this because like when I discuss the case with my friends who cover it, I continue to come back to the same thing, which is that we literally are looking at nearly identical evidence and then coming up with one tiny like adjustment in terms of like turning the knob. It's like, we agree, this makes no sense. We agree, that makes no sense. We agree, this makes no sense. We agree, that makes no sense. And the only place that I differ from them is in the conclusion if I'm leaning towards him being alive, it just is like, listen, it seems like there's, a lot of shady behavior here. And I'm saying, why would they all conspire to do this unless they're doing it to hoax this thing? And they're saying, well, or it's more likely that they did this to whack him out. So like we agree on like 98% of the story. And so in this case, if there's a bunch of shady stuff around the body, it's just like that. It's identical to that, because it's like either they're doing it to, you know, support the idea that he's dead, or they're doing it to obscure evidence in this, I don't know, this way that he was killed that would not be supported by the patsy and the, you know, whatever evidence that they put in place, or whoever put it, whatever the evidence that was going to be a part of the official story would not be supported by his body. So they would do this to have him cremated fast, as opposed to convince the world that he's actually dead. So it falls in the exact same category as everything else.
Don't go, oh, well, we put it in this funeral home, now we're going to move to another funeral home, especially if you're choosing to bury someone for religious reasons. Are we allowed to have common sense and say that that's like, yeah, no, that doesn't, something occurred. So here's what happened. We received a tip, and this tip has checked out in a major way. And I'm going to be clear here on what is being alleged and what is not alleged, because some parts I am not alleging. I'm telling you this is what took place. So regarding Hansen, the person alleged with proof that I deem to be credible, that the reason that Charlie was brought to Hansen and was ultimately moved was because the company refused to take part in a quote unquote mock burial. Okay. A mock burial. So that you understand why I find this information credible. It's because I read through text messages that were sent to this effect from the people that would have knowledge of this. So I'm going to explain what that is, and or rather what is meant by that term mock burial in this particular scenario, so there's no confusion. It's considered mock because the deceased is not ultimately going to be buried. Okay, so you can request to have a mock burial either before or after a person is cremated, almost as a celebration. We'd like to have this person in a casket, have a celebration, have a funeral, but this casket is not going to be put into the ground. Actually, we're going to cremate him. So I am told that Hansen declined to participate in a mock burial. So Turning Point USA then had to shop around. And ultimately, they landed upon the Catholic Church because of Erica's very strong ties to the priest. You'll recall just the church in general. If you watched our Bride of Charlie series, we went about Erica's from that area, her background, her high school that she went to. But regarding the priest, to jog your memory, Erica is apparently so close to this priest, despite the fact that she's not Catholic or a participating Catholic, whatever it is Andrew was saying there. But that priest who winds up performing that Catholic funeral mass, she's so close to him that rather than bringing her family members to Utah after she finds out that her husband is shot, after she finds out that her husband is assassinated, rather than flying her family members out there, she coordinated to bring the priest.
Okay. This is our first stopping point. So to run through the pieces of this that are relevant. Okay. So there was this big amount of discussion around whether or not Charlie was in fact converting to Catholicism, so much so that TPUSA put out a pre-recorded statement that he was not, converting to Catholicism. Okay. So it's really important. Like, nope, not Catholicism. It's not something that's going to happen. That's why I showed you guys all of that at the beginning, which I was watching it like, Jesus, we're going to lose everybody because this is so long. Okay. But it was important context, because then when you're looking for kind of behavior where you're like, what is going on? When it comes to doing the service, which is some kind of weird mock service, they flew out they flew to do this thing that they did it in a Catholic church with someone who was so close to Erica that relationship, I guess, is what led to them doing it. So it's like, how are both of these things true at the same time if there's not some other motive for doing this there? Normally, if you go through this amount of effort to have a specific denomination of Christianity, determine what type of service you're going to do, it's going to be based on which of those that you subscribe to or are a member of. In this case, it's like, All right. Well, so it's a mock service and we're using someone that there's a very strong personal relationship with, but it's so important that we don't have the world think that he's Catholic that we put out a pre-recorded statement. Super weird. None of that adds up at all. You know what I mean?
We then saw him around her, traveling with her at future events. There was that Turning Point event in October, which featured the vice president at Ole Miss on October 29th. The priest was with her. He traveled with her there as well. All of that in retrospect is rather extraordinary because Turning Point still maintains to this day that Charlie was not flirting with Catholicism. This is something that Blake Neff said the other day. A bishop said otherwise. So I talked to Charlie. But Blake Neff said, nope, never. Die hard evangelical. So why a Catholic funeral mass if not for the reason that you have a personal relationship with the priest who will grant you a special request that has been refused by others? Not illegal, by the way. I'm not implying that anything that was done was illegal. I'm saying that if this holds true, it means that you have, I will do that for you. I will do what the others are saying that they will not do. It implies that the intention was actually to not have Charlie buried Catholic because he's not Catholic. He did not die Catholic. Now, the next part I'm going to tell you is not speculation, it's a fact. On the day of that Catholic funeral mass, Charlie's casket was closed. It's a fact. Afterward, it was in fact taken to a Catholic cemetery, and close friends and family and high net worth donors gathered around that casket one last time. So you're thinking, oh, this must be when he gets lowered into the ground. No, that did not happen. I can tell you that did not happen. And I am not saying allegedly here. Instead, they were then asked to leave. They did not see Charlie taken to a burial plot. They did not see Charlie lowered into a ground. There was no grave that was dug out. Rather, they were told, you leave and we'll handle the rest. He's going to be put somewhere unmarked. We don't want you guys to be privy to where that's going to be because we are fearful that they could desecrate, that someone could come, like the left could come and desecrate wherever he's buried. His close family and friends were told this. So the people that were in attendance were then shuttled to a luncheon elsewhere. Again, I am presenting that as a fact. No one who attended Charlie's actual funeral on that day can make a counterclaim that they saw him buried. That would be.
That's weird. That's weird. So closed casket for some reason, open casket later when they're doing kayfabe. Had to fly a Catholic priest in, if I heard that correctly, to do the mock service, and he doesn't get lowered into the ground. And like I said, we are going to go immediately after this wraps up, which there are another 2.5 minutes of, to coverage that I did months ago that relates to this directly and shows incredibly, well, you know what? Just sit tight. You'll see. So what is all of the, like, why would they do this? Right? Because again, it supports potentially that, oh, look at Gabrielle, my wife, sending, thank you, babe. I didn't know you were watching. This, by the way, that's my channel with my bride, Play with Matches. You guys can check that. The link to that is in the description as well. So in this case, like, if you're trying to use misdirection to cremate the body, that's where I'm like, okay, but like, I don't, yeah, that's possible, but why would you go through a mock ceremony where you show the body and all of that? That's why I keep coming back to, like, missing body maybe supports my hypothesis more, which I'm open to discuss with you guys, but we're going to look at what I put out months ago right after this. 2.5 more minutes. Watch this.
Untrue. They would be lying. They were asked to leave. So when I put that together, I am led to believe that it was indeed a mock burial done as a favor by a friend. Again, not illegal. I am led to believe that he was either before or after cremated. And the ceremony was for family and friends, to have a funeral But ultimately, Charlie was not lowered into the ground on that day. And that is the reason that I believe Erica chose to do a Catholic funeral mass, despite indicating everything to the contrary to the public about Charlie's beliefs, evangelical. So why does this matter? Well, it matters because it would be highly unusual, if that is factual, that he was cremated and it was a mock burial. It would be highly unusual for someone to seek their spouse's cremation before an investigation into their assassination is concluded. Plain and simple.
Fact. Fact. And that's what I'm saying, is this is one of those ones that very clearly can support either. Could support either. But again, I'm going to show you additional information shortly where it's like, well, there might be a little bit more to it than that.
Would be run counter to trying to find answers. And their sensitivity doesn't make sense otherwise. It does not make sense otherwise. What they are selling you is absolute BS, that there is some fear that a leftist trans person is going to come up. Go look up anybody recently who has died. You can find where they've been buried. People that are bigger and more prominent. You can Google where George H.W. Bush, presidents, where is he buried? Go Google where JFK Jr. was buried. You can find that. You can find everywhere where they were buried, where who's another recent person? John McCain. You can Google that right now. Where is John McCain buried? So you are telling me that all of these high-flying people who were remarkably controversial, people that are at each other's throats all the time, fighting in politics, are capable of being buried publicly, and you can go visit them publicly, and you can go learn and see the moment that their family members were around and when those plots of were dug out. But you're telling me that Charlie Kirk, it's just, no. We are just so fearful. Can I have one thing? Can I just have this one thing? That's going to be part of what I show you here in a second. Okay. And I think what she's saying is important also to point out, right? Which is, for George's ice cream. Well, listen, I probably just said that loud enough that she might have even heard that. And so she's going to ask me for it, which means she's going to get it. Thank you very much. And Josh Maddox, dude, congratulations. 32-month member, dude. What a stud, dude. MVP. Thank you, sir. So, listen, her point on that is very good, where you're like, hang on. Okay. I understand, there was a lot of negativity around Charlie Kirk immediately following the assassination. And since then, I went thermonuclear on leftists that were celebrating his assassination. As a matter of fact, if you want to see me at a 10, go watch those live streams, dude. Go back to September, whatever, between the September 10th till, I don't know, October 10th, when it was still very prominent and people were dancing on his proverbial grave. I was an atomic bomb. My face was the color of this shirt all the time. I would just lose my shit. I couldn't fucking take it. But if you think about that, when they're making these decisions, it's these are kind of things you make in the short term. Charlie Kirk is so different than any of these other people that how in the same world where you are making a stand, you take the exact, the awning and the setup from UVU and you put it in front of Amfest, where it's come on, guys, come take pictures of the exact tent that Charlie was shot under, because that is some kind of, honestly, I have no idea what they were doing with that. But we're not going to tell you where he's buried. How can those two things exist in the same world? You know what I mean? So one thing. Yeah. I bet. Can we have one thing? Can we have the truth? Can we have the truth?
All right. Okay. So now we're going to move over to here. Whoops, not that one. To here. Okay. So in this one, this is an episode of my series where this is part 4 of A Manufactured Martyr. And this is the first time that I covered Charlie's body being misplaced and how I found out about this. And then the subsequent information that, or not just the subject, but it's like, here's how I found out, and here's exactly what TPUSA did immediately following this flashpoint and how I found out about it. Okay. So this is, when did I post this? I posted this on February 16th. All right. So check this out, and we're going to discuss here. All right. So what we are looking at is an episode of the Tim Pool podcast where Milo Yiannopoulos was on there. Okay. And this is really important, right? So Milo was on, and he's talking about Erica, and he's talking about what he's doing is he's defending Candace. That's the topic of this conversation. He's defending Candace, and he's talking about why he believes that she is doing something that she believes is right, and she's doing something that she believes is leading towards her solving this case, where this is when Tim Pool was calling her the C word and talking all this, I don't know. I mean, I assumed at the time he must have taken money, but anyway, that's the context here. December 5th. Okay. Well, or this aired on December 5th. Okay. You can see that right there. December 5th. Okay. Now, what came out of that episode was the following. Okay. This is the clip right here taken from that episode. This one was posted on the 6th, but the actual episode was on the 5th. This is a clip taken from the episode that was posted on the 5th, and the date is very important. Okay. So let's watch this together. Oh, I'm sorry. Some context. They right now are talking about Candace Owens and her investigation into the Charlie Kirk case. Tim, this is when Tim was going on his tirade. This is right around where he was calling her the C word, all of that. What
a
repetitive fucking guy. Let's go shut up, Jesse on Fire.
For lawyers to share offices with government departments.
She did not vet
for the security,
at the planes at the airports, actually loaded up cars and went to that building. She made that up.
You're not going to hear from me that she's got everything right. I'm not here to say that.
Endless,
clearly,
bullshit.
Clearly, that's not the case. But first of all, I believe that she is motivated by a sincere desire to find out what happened to Charlie Kirk. Second,
agree.
We don't know. We still don't know, because they are telling untruths about it. I know for a fact, for an absolute fact, that Charlie has not been buried yet. I know for an absolute incontrovertible fact he's not.
And this is December 6th, which, listen, I might need a refresher in counting to 1, 2, 3, but that's 3 months after he got murdered. 3 months. Does that sound normal? Has not been buried yet? He hasn't been buried yet. What? But how does that make sense? Okay. More to come. And again, this is December 6th, but the actual thing happened it got posted on December 5th. Real quick, I see in the chat, people are saying why I like what the motivation would have been. Just table that. Because it's a lot more complicated than what everybody's putting out, but it doesn't matter. Just table the motivation and just listen to what is in this. Okay. I don't know when they recorded it. Could have been 3rd, 4th, but the 5th is when it actually went up. Very important. Okay. Let's let him finish his thought though, because this is definitely true according to him. And does he seem like he's lying?
Why? When there's no good reason for it. I know for a fact, I'm going to tell you, you know that my faith is sincere, I hope. Right. You know that I thanks for leaving that dark. Thanks for leaving the silence there. No, I hope that you understand that I'm a sincere person. I swear on my Lord boy I lost. I swear, cat, not person, but I swear on God, on the Blessed Mother. I swear on Jesus Christ. I know for an incontrovertible fact that Charlie has not been buried yet. There's no good reason for that. None whatsoever, unless some trickery is afoot. Because, and they're telling people, it's because we're planning to build a giant mausoleum. Well, you put together the biggest political event in the last 100 years in 3 days. Where's the mausoleum, girl? Sorry, no. I know for a fact he has not been.
So that's weird. What do they do? They're like, just put his body on ice. Let's just keep him nice and frozen, and we'll tend to that, whenever, just whenever, we'll tend to that whenever. And to his point, they literally did the biggest event in human history. That's a bit hyperbolic. They put on a absolutely enormous event 11 days after, but 3 months later, they still haven't buried the body. I think he has some other things to say, but just put that in your brain bank and ask yourself if that lines up with my hypothesis.
Buried. He has not been buried. Okay. Why? Because people are asking them. They're saying, I want to go pay my respects to Charlie Kirk. I can go visit Nietzsche. I can visit Karl Marx. Why can't I visit Charlie Kirk? Where is he buried? Where is his gravestone? And you better have a damn good reason why he's not buried yet.
Do you have
And
a
I
theory?
genuinely mean it when I say that I would appreciate it and I would prefer it if you were the face of skepticism towards Turning Point USA.
Yeah, but nobody else is doing it. She's the only one. So how dare anybody give her a shit for this? Like,
And here's the thing. Here's the thing about that, right? Why am I the first person to start putting this together? Has anybody been asking themselves that? Like, as I've been going through this, it's unbelievable because here's the thing also. After this episode, this is going to be the last episode before I start leaning heavily into looking at other people's stuff, other creators who are really smart, smarter than me in many cases, just not when it comes to people, but in every other scenario, smarter than me. And I'm looking at them and I'm watching their content and I'm going, it is right in front of you. Like what they are all talking about in almost every case is literally just like smashing a hammer into my hypothesis. It's like, this is correct, because I'm watching them lay out all of these inconsistencies, which is the basis of investigations. Why does this not make sense? And in every case, all you have to do is insert my hypothesis and it makes sense. Almost every single time. As a matter of fact, I can't think of an example where that does not fit. I can give an example now. So just for the record, in February, I was hard selling this because I was doing a series on it. To be clear, like, I have no idea what happened. I'll tell you, I have two theories that I went super deep on. The first one was Lance Twiggs. From September until like February, I did exclusive research on the leftists having done it. And you could go back. I mean, if you go watch any of that, that's why after the pre-trial, when they rolled out Lance and he's like, hello. Yeah, I like to play the pirate game with Tyler. I dress up like a pirate and then he chases me around and I call him like, peg leg Tyler. And we play hide. That was going to get me demonetized if I finished that joke. Anyway, so it was all Tyler, Lance, and a big group of leftists. That's all I focused on. Then I did this one and like I have no idea what happened. However, what I do know is that the official story makes absolutely no sense and I can't make heads or tails of any of it. And when you start talking missing body and then wait until you see what TPUSA did exactly, like immediately following when Milo put that out for the very first time. You know what I mean? And again, people who are, if you are on board with people who are skeptical of the official story, like we're on the same team, dude. I'm not arguing with anyone. Like I'm not arguing with anyone. If there's Barron, I talk to Barron 3 times a week. He is 100% dismissive of this theory, and like we talk all the time. Like I'm not arguing with him at all. He's done his research is different, like he goes, that's man, very impressive actually. He already knows everything, about if I start looking at something, he already has it clocked. But yeah, I mean, so there's no one should be upset if they have a different theory unless they're like, nope, Tyler Robinson did it by himself. And I'm like, are you sure, dude? Did you watch that footage from the roof the other day? That looked like some slapdick kid who was somehow carrying a 700-pound World War I rifle, which is what this stream was originally going to be about, is the rifle. But we'll come back to that. Come back shortly. Did anyone, TB Cat Lady, thank you for the super chat. Did anyone else see Lance's lips not move naturally on his taped interview? I haven't actually looked super close at that, at the video to look and see if there is anything that looks doctored. I will just continue to come back to the fact that it makes absolutely no sense that you would have the person who's literally, they have no case absent Lance, right? Lance is he provided the text messages, which I will, if you guys have not seen my cover, like literally within the last 2 weeks, I pointed out something about those text messages I hadn't seen anyone else point out, which from my perspective, literally just is like, yeah, there's no way these are real. And everybody's been looking at that and going, okay, yeah, they're probably not real because it sounds like a Shakespearean thing. And I'm like, nope, look at this. And I'll show you guys that later if we remember. But like his DNA is on every single piece of evidence, man. And so to me, Lance is going to end up being culpable in this crime, is what my hypothesis is. I think it's going to end up being like, oh, Lance did it and he framed Tyler. And whether that is what he actually did or that was some kind of, like double move patsy or whatever, who knows? You know what I mean? Watch out. Thank you for the super chat. What if he was cremated? Then it wouldn't be so bad to not bury him quickly. 100%. No. That exactly right. And if they did that, why? You know what I mean? Why? If he got cremated, why? But listen, they are going to address that in a second when we go through the what's next on this video, which is what they did immediately following that Timcast episode. And Stormy Days, member for 7 months. Thank you very much. Smash like and hype if you can. There's no thank you very much, but there's no hype on channels that have over 500K subscribers. And so to all of you guys who have been subscribers, thank you very much for that. And I appreciate you. Jamie, this is the merch right here, dude. Jamie, Crystal made the first purchase. America first. Let's go, dude. Congratulations. And Latch, thank you for the super chat. And Abraham's last one. Who can manipulate the telematics of Lance's phone? Do you know what telematics are? No, here's a very simple answer. Okay. I don't know what telematics are, but it's irrelevant because what time were those text messages sent? Answer 11:30 p.m. Okay. If you don't know the text conversation very well, I will remind you, it is Tyler Robinson supposedly out next to the drop point, and he's like, oh man, I hope they get out of there quickly so I can go get my rifle. That was sent at 11:30 p.m. What they also established during the pretrial hearing is the fact that Tyler wakes up at 7 a.m. every day, which means he goes to sleep very early. So 11:30 p.m., very likely that he would have been asleep. And then when you look at the text thread through my eyes, it's so rudimentary and embarrassing how obvious it is that someone, like this is not a real conversation. It looks like Lance grabbed his phone, had a conversation with himself, and then deleted the thread out of Tyler's phone and then put it back. And Tyler was not the wiser. Because otherwise, it's like, I don't even understand how no one even brought that up. Like, as soon as I was listening to the pretrial, I'm like, wait. Those messages were sent at 11:30 p.m. Tyler says he's still outside waiting to get his rifle. How is that possible? Anyway, okay, sorry, let's continue. And this is why we have a clips channel, you guys, because, we can edit out this gigantic, whatever side quest. The bill, it always solves the problem. Now, this thing that I'm going to show you right now came out of nowhere. I don't know if I don't know what I'm looking at, to be honest. Okay. I honestly don't. I don't think that I'm actually. Let me just make sure that I'm not about to show you guys. Okay. No, never mind. Here you go. He did not realize that anyone knew this, and someone just put that out on a gigantic podcast. Might want to distract. Do you guys remember when this happened? Tim Pool's shooting at his place last night. A vehicle approached our property and opened fire. No one was hurt. Our security team is reviewing the incident and will be relaying a report to appropriate law enforcement. December 6th, the next day. The day after Milo went on Tim's show and revealed for the first time that Charlie's body had not been buried 90 days after 90 days after he was shot. And then also after we saw a video of him in a very expensive coffin. Okay. Like, put those two pieces of data together. Okay. Like, just put those two pieces of data together. And I literally didn't even think about that until right this second. Okay. Look at this. Okay. This is Erica, and she's draped over this beautiful, beautiful coffin. Do you guys have any idea how much a coffin like that costs? Do you think that, like, they put people's bodies into coffins that have not been purchased? Okay. So they put right here is like a couple days after September 10th, and you've got her draped over a coffin, which inevitably was purchased by her if there is a body in it, which it, very much appears that there is, because you can see it right there. And yet 3 months after that, Milo says that he knows for 100% sure that Charlie was not, in fact, ever buried, had not been buried. And then we have Candace go, come with the, either, I wouldn't say it's identical, but very, very similar information that no one knows where the body is. No one knows, you know what I mean? So like, whose coffin is this? Did they buy this coffin and then put him in it and then they just like buried it empty or what? You know what I mean? So let's go ahead and continue along with what we were just talking. Wait, where did that go? Is this my, wait. Oh, no, that's Candace's. What is going on? Where did the other video go? Oh, there we go. Idiot. Okay. So let's continue here, because this is what they did right after Milo. You have the Tim Pool incident that ensures, now whether this is a coincidence or not, who knows? But right after Milo reveals that there's, 90 days, no body having been buried, they have this super bizarre incident where someone shot at Tim Pool's residence. And so the news cycle for the next 2, 3, 4, 5 days is about the shooting. If you look up Tim Pool, you're not going to find Milo reveals shocking information that Charlie Kirk had not been buried. You're going to find, oh my gosh, shooting on his property. Could be coincidence. Totally could be coincidence, but also could be not coincidence. You know what I mean?
The next day.
Oh, and then
right there.
And then also what TPUSA does after this is very telling also.
After that happened. And then when you actually got into it, remember, it just felt weird and everyone was like, I don't know, dude. I don't know. Okay. And then fast forward after it had already been out of the news cycle after a week. And
sorry, super quick. Yes, you do need to send the definition of telematics. Actually, I can just Google it, but thank you for the super chat.
He refused to give the sheriffs his security footage. Okay. And I mean, again, this is coming from the police. Look, spokesperson for the Berkeley County Sheriff's Office said that, quote, reports of shots fired at this residence cannot be substantiated this time, adding that Poole has refused to release security footage recorded the night of the alleged shooting. That's pretty weird. That's pretty weird. And certainly did an amazing job of distracting from the Tim Pool episode where Milo screamed out into the ether in front of everyone that Charlie Kirk had not been buried yet. I found that very weird. Very weird. Now, let me show you something else when we get into the dates, okay? So remember when Erica Kirk went on her secondary media tour, right? Where she now she's different, right? The first time she is, I forgive him. I forgive him. And everyone's like, oh my God, that's powerful, powerful. I mean, listen, when I read about it, because at the time obviously, when I read about it, I was like, man, she is a much better person than me. Like, just genuine. I was inspired by that. Beautifully written by whoever thought of that. And then when I saw her, deliver it was just like everything else, where I'm thinking to myself, I feel very uncomfortable. I can't really explain but I feel so uncomfortable watching this. And then her secondary media tour, where she's a different person now. And now she's upset and she's serious and she's grieving, but she's mad. She is angry about what's going on. And that started when? What would you guys guess? When do you think she started that media tour? Let's see. 12/10. 5 days. 5 days after Milo, I guess inconveniently let the world know that she had not buried Charlie. Charlie's body not buried yet. And if you guys recall, what did she want to talk about? I can't remember. Let's see.
This part of the conspiracies that are out there, this disturbing part that people are trying to guess where Charlie is.
Can I have one thing?
Hey, look at the only two people I'm following are JD DeLay and Ian Carroll, dude. That's hilarious. Now, real quick, I want to just say this too. I realize, like, when I've kind of breezed over this stuff recently, I have not made clear that my opinion and kind of feelings on this have never changed, which is whatever Charlie's doing, I have never wavered in my trust for him. If this is what I'm kind of proposing, which I'm not saying that it is, but if it is, like I'm on board with whatever Charlie, like, if whatever Charlie's vision is, I trust that he knows more than I do. And it's really important because I know that we are in this moment of massive transition with AI and like these demons that are trying to break the United States. And so anything that Charlie did, especially if it was some kind of huge thing, like, I have his back on it. And if, like, I would be, I don't know. I want to make sure that I say that, like, I've never changed on, I've never wavered on that ever. So my faith in him is rock solid and remains that way.
I have one thing. Can my children have one thing? Everything was public. We will be building the most beautiful memorial for my husband at Turning Point USA, and it will be for the world to see, and it will be spectacular, and it will have basically museum style for our Charlie, for my Charlie. But can I have one thing? Can my babies have one thing where we hold it sacred, where my husband is laid to rest, where I don't have to be worried about some secular revolutionary coming and destroying my husband's grave while my daughter is sitting there praying? One thing, that this is my husband. Yes, he was Charlie Kirk to the world, and I know so many people love my husband, and I am grateful for that, but this is my husband, and I want to be able to have one thing left that is sacred to our family, to my in-laws, to my babies, and to my parents.
Do you want to know what she didn't say? She didn't say that he's buried somewhere else. Didn't say that. Sounded like she did, but she didn't. She didn't say that. She said she's building a memorial. She said, can I have this one thing? And nowhere in that entire thing did she say that he's buried somewhere else. Because Milo said, I know for an incontrovertible fact that he is not buried anywhere else. And she did not dispute his claim at all. Okay. And here, this was, this is the end of it. So look, so literally inside of less than a week. And I'm not even sure if that Fox one that happened on the 10th is the first one, but let's say it was. Within 5 days of that airing, you have Tim Pool has this mysterious shooting happen, which swallows the news cycle and no one finds out about the fact that Charlie wasn't buried. And then PR geniuses over here who clearly do not want that to be known go on to a nationally televised show and bring attention to it. That's the only reason I even, halfway knew about it. And oops, that was the story about his house getting shot up. So bottom line is, just to wrap that.
So again, given that Candace brought up the mystery of the body last night, I was like, oh, I know a little bit more about that, So again, there's no conclusion here at all. There's no conclusion. I'm completely open to Tyler having done it with support of psychotic leftist terrorists. I'm open to Lance having done it, frame Tyler because he's a schizophrenic lunatic. I am open to this being a gigantic hoax, and my faith in that theory comes down to my faith in the people who were Charlie's inner circle, because I just, like, if there's a bunch of stuff that indicates that they're in on this thing, I can't get myself to a place where I'm like, okay, if all of these people are involved, like these guys are conspiring to kill him. Like, that seems insane to me. Like, I'm sorry, that just seems totally insane to me. I can't get my mind around the same people who are in, like, I've showed a bunch of stuff of Erica and Charlie interacting before all of this happened. And then a bunch of videos of like Colvett and Neff and Tyler Boyer and Charlie all interacting on shows prior to that. I'm like, these fucking guys aren't going to kill Charlie. There's no fucking way, dude. It is no chance. There's no way that these guys would conspire to kill him. I recognize them interacting like that. These guys are like me and my friends. They love this guy. Like I can, that's not a thing that people can hide if it's genuine. Like they love, these guys have been in the foxhole for years, dude. And like, to me, if someone came up to me, if I don't care who it is, and they were like, hey, you know, your buddy who is running the organization that you work for that you love, like, hey, we're going to clip him. And there's a lot of money. There's like so much money and status in it for you. And so we need you to whatever. I'd be like, okay. And I would tell them in 1 second, in 1 second. If they're like, we'll kill you if you don't, I'd be like, I don't care. There's no fucking way I'm conspiring. You think I'm going to let you guys kill my friend? 0% chance. None. Won't happen. Would never happen. I would let them kill me before I would participate in that. And my thing is like, I don't think that, I always just look at most people, unless I can identify something that very clearly indicates that their personality is much different than mine. And I'll go, okay, like probably have similar values. So whenever there's like weirdness, I'm not saying it's impossible, but what I'm saying is I'm always going to default to like what I know, and all of them being demons makes no sense to me, you know? But again, I have done extensive research on it being Lance framing Tyler. So I'm not saying that's what happened. I'm saying when I see weirdness coming from TPUSA, I lean towards that being the case. Now, let's do some super chats, and then I'm going to show you the weirdness with the rifle that I was going to show originally. And I'm curious what you guys think, because I had a thought, and then I ran it through like my group of guys that cover this case, and they pushed back on it. So I'm going to show it to you guys, and you guys can tell me what you think. But super quick first. And by the way, yes, I looked up telematics. So you're talking about geolocation, where messages were sent from. Got it. Yep. So are you saying that there are telematics that have Tyler Robinson at 11:30 at night outside of where the drop point for the rifle was? Because how do you have access to that? But I don't. You know what I mean? Shauna, thank you for the super sticker. Appreciate you. Lucy Gate, welcome to the membership. Telematics is the interdisciplinary technology that combines telecommunications and informatics to monitor, track, manage vehicles, assets, and mobile systems in real time. Yep, I Googled it. So again, thank you for the super chat though. So I get my follow-up question is, do you have access to data that puts Tyler Robinson at the place that those text messages say that he was at? Because how did you get that? Because I watched the entire pretrial hearing and never saw that from the text messages. Mary said, how the F did WWE become American politics? You're cool. It really genuinely feels like that. And the thing is like I realize that's kind of like a throwaway question, you know, like you're like half joking, but I actually think that it's actually an important question to ask, because humans are very, very, very predictable. Way more predictable than they realize. People follow specific patterns, and it's not that everyone is the same, but everyone is the same once you clock how they interpret and react to stimulus. Like, it is extraordinarily rare for there to be a person and you're like, okay, so let's see how this person manages this information, and then you see how they react to it. You basically can just mark it down that the next time something like that happens, they'll react the same way. Not always, but most of the time. And most people who work inside of very established systems like the US government or any of these, you know, any of the things that are interconnected to the Charlie Kirk case in general, like an example being these new Congress people who come in and they are piss and vinegar, dude. They're fucking ready to go, dude. They're going to come in, they're going to shake up the system, and they are going to change things. Things are going to be different now. And one for one, with nearly no exceptions, they just become part of the system. And then all of a sudden you see their insider trading and they're turning the other way on this, that, or the other. And you're like, man, I really thought that person was our genuine hope. And then you have every once in a while people who make real sacrifices and they need to be pointed out. Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't care if you're on this side or that side of the political aisle from her, but she did a 180 on where she was at and resigned over a principle that she was not going to go along with, something that was turning a blind eye to women and girls being victimized, period. And she was like, I don't care. Anyone who is going to push, anyone who's going to still throw rocks at her after that needs to get there. You need to get your partisan like brain checked. It's like, forget about what side of the aisle she's on. They asked her to go along with burying that story, and the president was screaming at her, and she's like, no, I'll quit. And she did. Like, that's gangster. I don't like, believe me, I'm a genuine independent. Like, if Democrat did that, I would have the exact same thing to say. It doesn't matter. Like, that's a genuine test of character, and she passed. That's super rare, dude. That's super rare. Almost all of them love being a congressperson. So someone threatens that, you know, they threaten it. This is exactly why no one ever stands up to, because they set an example. Massey, they set an example. They made an example of him, right? Like, he's like, yeah, no, I think that we should do X, Y, Z. They primary him. He loses. And now anyone who wants to stand up to him is like, geez, like, I really like being a congressperson. And so they won't do it. It's, if you're not willing to sacrifice things, then you're just going to fall in line. And with the original question, the WWE thing, it's like, once people get to the other side of the wall and they get as high up as these people are, so much of this stuff that people see is straight up like kayfabe propaganda. It just is, dude. Like, that's what it is, because the ability for, so I'll give you a perfect, like, I'll explain it the way Palm Beach Pete did. Okay. I did an interview with Palm Beach Pete, the guy who people, you know, think looks like, you know, is either Peter Stimmel or is, you know, the dude with the island post cosmetic surgery. And I was like, and, you know, my goal with that interview was just to keep him talking as long as possible, because I'm just wanted to hear what he had to say. Because as the more that he spoke, the more I would be able to feel confident one way or the other myself, which is honestly what my goal was. But I said to him, I was like, you know, what's fascinated me about the entire story with the island and all of that is how a bunch of people who have no power at all, like they're used to having zero influence on anything. When you get enough of them together and they start pointing in this right direction, they suddenly have power. He's like, they don't have power, they have influence. And I was like, okay, you know, like, and it's true. If you have enough people marching in the same direction, then they can move mountains. So if you think about that and you understand that that's the true mechanism of how all of power is actually implemented, is the ability to threaten people's, you know, the same exact thing is what I was talking about with Massey. If you get enough people that are like, this one, we're not moving on. Well, now you're threatening the congressperson with the exact same thing as they do if you don't go along with whatever they've got going on. So if you understand that and you're a human strategist, okay, like, you are going to start thinking of ways that you can drive them in the direction that you want them to go. And if you think, if you're one of these, if you think it's important that they are facing that way and they don't have all of the information, but you do, you're going to do whatever you have to do in order to get them pointing that direction. So, and then if you have people who are morally questionable, dude, you're going to juke everything. You're going to fake everything. Like, you'll fake anything. And I'm not putting Charlie in that category at all of people who are more, I think his morals are rock solid. I'm not at all saying that. I'm just saying that, like, there are a lot of people in government whose are not. And anyway, okay. So Frowls Max, thank you very much. Says, hi, Jesse, fan for a while. Thank you. Being preserved could lead to cryogenics, like real life AI program. Charlie, this is crazy, man. I love y'all. Hey, man, but buy your kids some ice cream. I will, dude. Thank you. Yeah. I mean, listen, if these billionaires, they are 100% very actively trying to figure out a way where their consciousness can get transferred into an AI for sure, because they don't want to die, dude. It's the great equalizer. It's like, oh, you're rich. Cool. You might get some extra years because you eat better food and you have people, you know, whatever, but everybody has an expiration date, unless there's something going on that I don't understand, where if you, you know, sell your soul to Satan or something, then you get to just do, well, actually, I don't know if I'm joking or not about that. Shills are going to shill. A Barnes, thank you. Do you know what Charlie said about the fake Trump assassin? No, I don't. But I assume that he said that the idea that it was fake was insane, which is what I said. And honestly, like, it's actually hilarious that I have entertained this theory, because there is not a theory that I thought was more batshit than that the Butler thing was fake. I was like, are these people completely insane? Like, what? A dude got his head blown off in front of everyone, like like an innocent person, a firefighter got killed. It's like, but no, I don't know if Charlie commented on that. I'm not aware, but I can guess what he said about it, you know. The Cash Bedell show. Thank you very much. I already know who one of the TPUSA representatives was that the suspect talked to. Please put me on your watch list. Wait, so I already know who one of the TPUSA representatives was the suspect. Oh, are you talking about what they said in the pretrial hearing, where they said that Tyler got to the campus, went down the stairs, and then they said that he interacted with someone from TPUSA and then left? They breezed over that. They breezed over that in a way where my assumption, which I guess is probably misplaced and dumb, because there's no reason for me to be assuming anything about anything, but like, let's assume that this doesn't mean that TPUSA was directly involved and they just announced it on the trial, was that there were so many TPUSA people running around the campus that maybe he got there and then one of the TPUSA people, hey, are you coming to the event? You know, like, hey, are you coming to the event? Or something like that. And then he turned around and left. Who knows, dude? For all I know, a TPUSA person handed him a bag of cash and they were like, hey, go learn how to shimmy on the roof like a complete professional assassin and make sure that you're visible via this weird camera. And then don't worry, because we're going to have Jack Posobiec say that there's HD footage that he saw people take the shot, later on in trial or whatever, you know what I mean? Omar Musa, thank you for the super chat. Impossible for Charlie's neck to stop the bullet and his head not to snap backwards afterward. It's called the law of conservation of momentum. Video of Charlie not being thrown backwards, and basic physics proves he wasn't hit by a 30-06. And as much as I would love to show you guys the videos, and thank you for the super chat, very generous, I appreciate you, dude. I would love to show you guys the videos that I did with Heavy Duty Country and the ones that Valhalla did, which is even more definitive. You know what? Let me talk to you guys about that really quick, because something happened where I think that what happened is YouTube has like, turned the knob on gun related like streams and videos, because Nate did the most definitive examination of this. Nate is Valhalla VFT. He did the most just direct. Here is exactly what happened. He went and bought a oh God, what did he say? I don't know. We were in Vegas this last weekend and he told me all about exactly what it was like. I think it was like 100 or 200 pound hog that was literally had a beating heart an hour before he got it. Like, is very, very recently dead. He took it out there. He got one of those tree cutters. He has a huge ranch, and he took the shot 30-06 with the exact ammunition that the state said that they used, and he did it from the exact angle. And what's very interesting about that is that TPUSA subsequently did the reason we were talking about it is because the night that we got there, which was last Thursday, a week ago, they put a segment out where they used portions of his clip and said that the Green Beret in this video believes that a 30-06 could have stopped in Charlie's neck, when his conclusion was the exact opposite. And so we talked about it, and he said that that not only did the 30-06 go straight through the pig, he was like, dude, it liquefied. He's like, it tore out the pig's entire sternum. It was just like, he's like, dude, he's like, there's no way, is what he said to me. I can't show the video because, again, it'll get, they'll probably just kill the stream. But yeah, he's like the wound was so devastating that it is hard to even verbalize. He was going, I don't even know, how did we not even look at that? He was like going through his phone. He was going to show me what the pig looked like afterwards, and then we got distracted. But yeah, I mean, and then myself and Heavy Duty Country, back when we did this, we went out to Dan's ranch And we shot at the time, before we knew which exact type of ammunition they used, we shot like every single type of 30-06 ammunition that we could find. And it just cut straight through. We had these gigantic roasts that were super thick, way thicker than like a human neck, with a gigantic, huge, thick bone behind it. It obliterated everything, like obliterated it straight through, slow motion, laughable, impossible that it stopped, that it was going to stop. And people were like, oh, it was a frangible round. So I'm like, all right. I looked everywhere for frangible rounds, could not find them anywhere on the internet except for World War II relics, which I paid $12 per round for. And these are relics from 1945, like 1944, 1945. Okay. So we brought those out. They're 80 years old. 80 years old. People were like, yeah, people would have said, don't use them. We use them. The powder was so degraded, you could actually audibly hear that the sound was probably reduced by a minimum of 40%, which means they're frangible and they're going significantly slower. And they still tore through every single target, ripped straight through them. So, I don't know. Who is the entity that can hack and manipulate telematics? I don't know. What I'm saying is there evidence? Do you know for sure that the telematics say that Tyler Robinson was at, wherever, outside of that area, the drop point at 11:30 at night? Because I have not heard them say that. Thank you for the super chat. Reagan says, before I even saw your series, I thought it was all fake as well, but for a different reason. Maybe he found out he was terminally ill and wanted his last days to be peaceful with his children. Thoughts? I mean, again, I never even entertained for a second that it was fake at all. Like when people brought that to, I heard it kind of like, just because I hear everything, just given that this is what I do for a living. So people send me, I think that I pretty much get 90% of the theories that exist sent to me at some point. But I didn't even look at it seriously until my buddy Ryan sent it to me, who is much smarter than I am. And I've told the story 1,000 times. My initial reaction was not like, oh shit, maybe I should take this seriously. It was, fuck, I thought that guy was smart. Like, that's how dismissive I was of it. But, from what I've looked at, I haven't seen any evidence of him being terminally ill or anything like that. What I've seen is him say the words that the reason he cried on election night is because Joe Biden had put the special prosecutor on him. And if Trump had not won, he was going to be sent to prison. And like I was saying about, humans being very predictable, I already know exactly what that's going to be like for him, because he has young kids like I do. Right. And I can look at Charlie and go, this is a person who has a lot of things he and I have in common. And in this case, the most important ones, like the fact that my kids. So I think for most people, dying or going to prison is like terrifying. If you have young daughters, dude, it's like a hard thought exercise. And for and in that situation, Charlie had no he doesn't have any likelihood that he's going to be able to beat this case with lawyers. I saw someone say that earlier. They're like, well, he's got money to be able to beat the case with lawyers. Nah, not in that case. Okay. You're talking about Jack Smith, special prosecutor. And it's not like he has a small sample size to go off of. You're looking at the people who are around the president from the first time around. Manafort, right? All of those guys, all of them got charged. Manafort got shipped to prison. And dude, bottom line is, if the special prosecutors target you, they're not doing that because it's a political attack, plain and simple. They're using the law to attack political enemies. And where these guys dance at, if you want to be in the heart of power, it is a death game. They do not fucking play. If you have the ability to push events this heavily in either direction and you get in the way of something that like certain types of people want to implement, they will fucking bury you. They'll kill you or they'll bury you under the prison, and they would never feel a single thing about it. Special prosecutor has insane powers to investigate, to the point where if Charlie did something where who knows, dude? I don't know. I know there's a lot of money going through TPUSA. I have no idea, if there's illegality, but in the event that he was convinced that there was something that he couldn't get around, every single person with a big profile who's facing a large case like that, everyone ends up on I could fake my death. Because that's your only way out. Kenneth Lay, the CEO of Enron, who died of a heart attack right before, he's about to go in. Ken Skilling, the other guy who was the COO or I don't know, he's the president, whatever. Kenneth Lay was the founder, and then he brought in Ken Skilling. Skilling got shipped. Hey, wait, Kenneth Lay and what the fuck is Skilling's first name? Whatever. He goes to prison, and Kenneth Lay dies right before. Who's he friends with? He's best friends with the Bushes, best friends with Dick Cheney, and he ends up dying right before. It's like, this is what I'm saying. If you put someone into a situation where they're that afraid, right? We're like, I can't even imagine. I can't even imagine how afraid I would be if I was in that situation. There's like, because you go through every scenario. It's like, okay, I have been given a target letter by the special prosecutor. They are targeting me. And I'm looking around and going like, okay, I'm running this huge organization, right? Like we have I don't have any ethical issues with like if you have $100 million coming through your organization and you're like, okay, well, we need to hire a social media company. Like, yeah, of course I would be like, oh, well, I'll create a social media company and hire myself. Like I don't even know if that's what they did, but stuff like that. And then you get a target letter where they're like, they're going to put you in prison, whether you did anything wrong or not. And you're looking at your wife and you're looking at your babies and you're like, I'm going to go inside. I'm going to watch my kids grow up from a fucking box. You would do anything to avoid that. And once that thought plants itself in your brain, like you have a lot of levers you can pull if you're Charlie. This is what I'm saying. That's why I not only do I support him in terms of whatever he had to do to avoid that, but also in the event that he would have been able to get the number of people that would have had to have been involved to do it. That means there's a larger purpose that they signed off on that was important. I trust him, dude. Bottom line. That's why I've always said, I'm like, dude, if this is a thing that they ever wanted me to not talk about, all they'd have to do is ask. I would never talk about it ever again. I would literally never talk about it ever again. The reason I started talking about it at the beginning was because I could see that there was an avalanche turning on them. And I'm like, man, like if I'm right, like I got to try to put something up to help, it didn't work and everyone thinks I'm crazy. So it is what it is, and maybe I am. Like maybe the fact that I even considered it just is like, oh, this guy's batshit. Totally plausible. It's possible that I just projected my own shit onto it, where like, if someone put me in a situation where I was afraid of losing my children, I would do anything. Okay. So, have you considered an electrocution would stop the heart and blood flow before bang? Reason for fake blood stuff? Love you. Yeah, for sure, dude. And thank you. I honestly, dude, I was just talking about this with my guys this morning. Like, I don't even understand how this is my life, dude. I really don't. It's like all the guys whose channels I love watching, I just rap out with them about the same stuff that I'm covering. It's like I am the luckiest motherfucker on earth. Like that's just what it is, dude. But we were just talking about that, how like I've literally considered everything. And when it comes to the actual moment of this happening, I haven't even looked super deep into any of it because I'm like, if it's possible that they could have done it, then that checks that box. Because my opinion has been almost exclusively built around everyone's behavior around them. You know what I mean? Danielle, what's up? My thoughts on the Tates. Your thoughts on Tate's believe CK influence on youth would have crushed their dominance. He had to be removed. Wait, you're connecting the Charlie Kirk thing to the Tates? I'm confused by that. My thoughts on the Tates are that Andrew Tate is one of the most convincing and charismatic people ever, which is why he was able to get away with this for so long. He had a brilliant, I mean, listen, like, I think that he's a straight up grapist. Like, I think that that is exactly what he is. I think that he's, it's not about like, people think that like, oh, a person who grapes people, it's because they can't get sex on their own. And it's like, yeah, not for like, that's not what it's about for some people. And in his case, I think that's obviously not what it's about. And I think that he figured out a system where if he gets them to consensually start having sex with them, then what's their story going to be when he starts choking them unconscious while they beg him to stop over and over and over and over and over? Makes it pretty fucking tough to report that. You know, it's like, wait, so you went home with the guy and then you guys got in bed and then whatever. It's like, it sounds like the system of a genius rapist. And I think that's exactly what he was doing. I think that's literally exactly what he was doing. And then he runs this, you know, this crazy propaganda thing where he's telling people, he's like, I think that they're going to invent, it's all about the Matrix and they're doing yada, yada, yada. It's like, I've seen a video of him literally admitting on camera that the reason he went to Romania is because he was facing a bunch of cases like this in the UK. And he said verbatim, he's like, I mean, listen, I'm not a grapist. He said that they don't put up with stuff like that in Eastern Europe. He's like, I mean, listen, I'm not a grapist, but I like the idea of being able to have the freedom to do what I want to do. You're all, I'm sorry. You're not a grapist, but okay. That's not a sentence that's ever come out of anyone that I know's mouth. You know what I mean? I'm not a grapist, but I would like, you know, I want the freedom to do what I want to do. I could show you the video. That's not even debatable. He said those words. And he also said, like, I'm effing all these 15-year-olds or whatever. You're like, dude. And his brother, I showed you guys that video very clearly. But I have no idea how that would connect to Charlie Kirk. Okay, so thank you for the super chat. Helen, review Valhalla and Elizabeth live from last night. I will. And I knew in the beginning, Valhalla proves the 4K video wasn't the shooter, impossible based on position. Listen, dude, it's going to be rare for people to find like bulletproof, pun intended, sources on this type of thing. But Valhalla is one of those examples, rare examples where, like, dude, if he starts talking to you about, it's funny because he like always pushes back on me based on the cavitation in the neck. But nonetheless, like, I'm talking like, you know, if you're looking at someone who's doing a military move with muscle memory, and then, you know, he shows you a part of the thing and he's got like cold data and he's like, this is how you know XYZ, he's damn near bulletproof and you could just take it as gospel. But I am going to watch that. I'm doing Elizabeth's show tomorrow, and I've heard that the stream was awesome last night. I'm definitely going to watch it for sure. Frolin says, at this point, if he's alive, he's living off the grid and has a disc. Yeah, I mean, if he whatever grid he would be on, if it's true, is a grid where a lot of very powerful people have access to him and no one else does. I mean, if that is what's going on, I guarantee his wife and kids are there, you know, and then Erica will fly in and out for meetings. And I mean, that's it. Again, I haven't even gotten into why I thought this in the first place, but it all has to do with their behavior. Number one thing is like, wait, hang on, Erica's the CEO of the company? Like, why would Erica be the CEO? It's like, that makes no sense. Oh, wait, makes perfect sense because she's his proxy, which is crazy to think about, because I think that one of the primary reasons that people are so suspicious of her, as a matter of fact, I know that one of the primary reasons people are so suspicious of her having been involved in killing him is because of her lack of grief, of course, and the fact that she seems to have slid straight into his entire life, and it looks like she took it from him. And what I'm saying is, like, if I'm right, it means the exact opposite of what people think it does, because what that would mean is Charlie trusted her so much that he put everything in her hands, and he loved her that much, had that much faith in her, that she would be able to slide into this role of the grieving widow, and she would capture the the hearts of the country in a way where she would wield more power even than Charlie. He tried to elevate her, and it did the exact opposite, you know. And here's the thing is like, and I've said this a million times, if they would, if this is true, if what I'm saying is true, and I'm not saying that it is, but if it was true, and the goal was to slide her into that position, he runs things from behind the scenes as Kaiser Soze. No one even realizes that he exists except for inner circle and really powerful people, and he's running everything through her, which is one of the most powerful positions you could ever be in, by the way. People are like, oh, he's giving up his life. I'm like, you guys do not understand how this game works at all. No. It means he can pull strings from behind the scenes and never have any risk of anyone coming after him because no one can even prove that he's legally alive. You know, all the big boys know, but there's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing they can do about it. It's like it's the opposite of how people are framing it. He's Kaiser Soze, dude. Okay. Anyway, but again, like if they would have, you know, if this is true, if the way they would have implemented this with Erica would have been to have her give one speech right afterwards, and then put her in a closet for 4 months and then start leaking things about her that like, dude, have you guys heard? They're like, Erica apparently is obsessed like that. You know, Charlie's wife, you saw her, like they can't get her to leave the TPUSA office. Like she's obsessed. Like this girl is going to take over the world. Like she wants vengeance, dude. And you build that story for months, dude, and you don't let anyone see her, right? Because in that period when they just pushed her out on stage, you have to be Daniel Day-Lewis to pull off that acting job, right? Because everybody knows what a person should look like 2 weeks after their husband, who they like. How many shows have they been on where everyone's like, man, she loves that guy, right? And it's like, okay, well, we know what she should look like, right? 10 days after he got shot. And it's like, yeah, well, you can't fake that, dude. Like human beings are literally hardwired to detect predators. And how do they do that? It's because a person is behaving in a way that doesn't line up with what you would expect a person to do. So you're looking at that person and you're like, I literally just saw that guy, you know, throw that thing across the room, and now he's calmly walking behind that girl. I don't like that, dude. You were mad a second ago. Why are you acting like you're not mad? It's literally predator detection that everyone has. Now, some people are walking around fucking blind, and you guys all know someone like that where you're like, you know, it's like you refer to them as like not having street smarts, right? And you're like, dude, stay away from that girl, dude. Like that girl is up to no good, or stay away from that guy, up to no good. And there's some people who are like the Matrix with that. Okay. And but everyone has it. And so you're looking and you're going, we know what she should be behaving like. Well, she can't fake that. Can't. She's not Daniel Day-Lewis, is not going to be able to do it. So she goes out there. She's acting not good enough, dude. And so everyone's going to interpret that. Well, you already hardwired it that Charlie's dead. Everyone saw him get killed. My wife and I cried hard that night. So if she's not going to pull this up, what do you think everyone's going to think? They're going to be like, what is wrong with her? I never suspected that she killed him, but I was watching going, what the fuck is wrong with her? What is wrong with her? Like, I don't understand what's going on. Why are they doing this? Why are none of them sad? So, you know, it's like the irony of all of that, you know, like I said, is that if that is what's going on, then the fact that Erica was put in that role means the exact polar opposite of what people think it means. But it could mean that. I don't know. You know what I mean? Okay, wrong. Charlie thought there were tons of things. Charlie thought there were tons of things wrong with the investigation. Facts, easy to research, shill. Huh? Charlie thought there were tons of things wrong with the investigation. Are you talking about the investigation into him? Because the only reason that we know about that is because he talked about it after Trump won. If you guys have never seen that, I will show you. Okay. Here. I'll show you that real quick because I just realized I'm talking about stuff that I never showed in this one. Hang on. Okay. So it is, oh, wait. Here we go. Oh my God. And I didn't even get into Snake Eyes, dude. We'll do Snake Eyes right after this. Okay. So here we go. Okay. Check this out. Video of Gabrielle betraying me from 18 different angles, and I wouldn't believe it. I'd be like, it's impossible. That's how much I trust her. And that's exactly what she would have done. So put that in your brain bank as we move on. Now, real quick, 30-second clip, also very important later on. And this is just about why Charlie cried the night of the election.
Do you know why I cried on election night?
Because you thought it was a restoration of the Judeo-Christian values that are inherent to the Constitution.
Let me tell you why, because I think you might appreciate this as a historian. Joe Biden sent the entire federal government after Turning Point USA and me personally. They wanted me in federal prison.
Right.
And by the way, that's what despots do, not
Sure.
Donald Trump. Let me finish. And so when Donald Trump won, it was a sigh of relief that maybe I won't have to go to federal prison.
Sure.
Maybe I can actually be around my kids. And maybe we can live in a free society.
Very important. So now we've set the stage. Okay. So that is
okay. So that's the only reason I even knew about that. I had no idea that he was targeted by the Jack Smith investigation until that. Right. And again, all that tells me is that he would have been very, very concerned about that for a very long time going into the election. Right. Cash Patel. Yeah. Remember the red t-shirt guy that was prevented from giving an interview before the interview says, yes, I saw him in his car. Oh, are you talking about the TPUSA guy? They went and grabbed him. Is that what that guy said? Is that what he was saying? He said he saw him in the car. I didn't even know that. I will go look that up for sure. And thank you for the super chat. You come across as a Rockefeller fan. Rockefeller model, fund the science, brainwash the patient, indoctrinate the administrator, pack the court, and fact check yourself. Cool. Listen, you want to know why I come off as the Rockefeller fan? It's because you keep paying me to send these, and then I don't understand. Like, I mean, I'm gonna be a Rockefeller if everybody who's mad at me sends me money to tell me, shit, son, we're gonna be rich, son. But I don't know how to respond to that. Because okay, fund the science. How did I fund the science? I don't understand that. Brainwash the patient. What would listen? What possible motivation would I have to run this theory outside of what I said it was, which was, oh my God, I think these people I think that the masses have this wrong. And I think that they are accidentally attacking Charlie in the most, like they have no idea. They think they're protecting Charlie and they're attacking Charlie. And I tried to put myself in between that. That's the real reason that I did this. Failed. All that happened was people told me I was batshit. And like, I mean, I'm serious. I will say though, that as the months go on, over and over and over, I have people come, they're like, dude, I thought you were fucking crazy. But now, I don't know, man, maybe. Because that's exactly how it happened to me. It's like, I told you, I thought it was completely insane. I was like, okay, then. But it's like, as soon as that becomes a maybe, you start looking at all these things and you're like, yeah, that is weird, dude. Like, why is there no blood on any of the security guys' shoes? Why is there no blood on their hand? Like, they said that they packed the wound. Like, what? Why is there no blood? Sure, and maybe it's because he got electrocuted or some weird energy weapon, cauterized. Who knows? I mean, I don't have any idea. But that is just one thing where you're all, well, I guess that would make sense if it's a blood bag and the blood's not real. And then it's like, but wait, why would they dig up the ground and then cement over it? Like, why would they do that? It's like, well, someone powerful clearly wanted to cover up some evidence and make sure no one ever, was able to figure out that something different than what they said happened, right? There's what possible reason that would they be to do that fast? I don't know. And you're like, well, I guess that would make sense if, and then it's like, well, why would they do this kayfabe weird like funeral? I mean, like what? And then it's like, well, it makes sense if they're trying to sell you that this is whatever. It's like, well, why would the only thing where I run into like something where I'm like, well, I have no idea how they did that. And I've said it before, I will repeat it again, is the Tyler Robinson thing. I'm like, I have no idea how they're doing it. I don't know if he's a patsy that they picked because of this, or if he's in on it and he agreed to do a year in prison. And they're like, we will get you off in, like nearly, if that case ends within 1 week of September 10th, I'm just saying, dude. I've been saying that forever. It's like 1 year and we'll give you this, whatever. And the reason in Utah is because how tight that community is. That's another reason why this was easy for me to latch on to as a possibility, is because I've lived in Utah and worked with like the LDS community, which is, they are rock solid. Like, where if you have a group, I've talked about this 1,000 times. If they tell you we are not going to do X, they're not doing it. You know what I mean? Like, there's no like short, at least in the group that I had contact with, which was large. Like, there's no one who's like, yeah, I'm Mormon, so I don't drink, and yet they still drink. Like, that's not a thing. There's no one who's like, oh yeah, I'm Mormon, so I'm going to wait to have sex until I'm married. And they did not do that. They all do that. Like, they live up to the things that they commit to, which is why I have such like an enormous amount of respect for that group. It's like, it's very, very challenging for people to find groups that live up to the things that they say they'll do so consistently. And, again, without it being a bunch of crazy people, like, cause I work with them. They're not crazy. They're not crazy. They're just, anyway, neither here nor there. And what I mean is, like, if there is a purpose behind this, which is big, which I absolutely believe that there would be in the event that I'm right. I don't know if I am, but if I was, then there's a reason big enough that you would tell the other people who are involved and they would understand, and they're going to be rock solid. Now, I'm going to show you I'm going to show you guys the Snake Eyes thing in a second, because it's another thing where you come back to your, what the fuck? And then we'll continue with super chats afterwards. Okay. Vloskin says, all the burial stuff makes no sense. If he was cremated, there would be no need to worry about his grave being desecrated if he's sitting on a mantle somewhere as ash. Correct. Exactly right. Yep. Exactly right. You're so passionate about your kids. So tell me, what did Robert Kirk, the coward that works for Trump, how the fuck would I know? What? How would I know that? Like, did he talk about my kids? Did he talk about my kids? I have no idea. Okay, now let's take a quick break here and look at the Snake Eye stuff, and then I would love to hear what people's opinion on this one is. Okay, let's rock. Reminder of the Snake Eyes connection.
There was a movie in 1998 called Snake Eyes with Nicolas Cage. I'm pretty sure some of you guys have seen this. In the movie, they're at a boxing match. A politician is assassinated in the movie, and his name is Charles Kirkland. Okay, think about Charlie Kirk. This is very, very weird. Okay, he was shot on the left side of his neck. The film takes place on September 10th. Rob, that's the
date of the fight.
No,
this is what we were talking about yesterday.
This is what we were talking about yesterday. Rob, that's the poster. And then the boxer who's in on the plan, who's doing a diversion, he wakes up on the ring. His name is Tyler, like Tyler Robinson, and he's called the Executioner. Okay, Jesus. Weird. And then the tropical storm that hits in the film is called Hurricane Jezebel. And for some of you guys that saw Megan Kelly just did a piece. That's the name of the online magazine that allegedly hired witches in August to put a hex on Charlie. And the film.
Hey, remember that story from this week? The Jezebel hex and the facts that we went through, where every component of that story had been created within like 2 months of when it happened. It was like the magazine was like 6 weeks old. The witches that supposedly did the hex were like I don't know, 2, 3, 4 weeks old. All of it had been created so tight proximity. And then somehow that story ended up in the Daily Mail. There was like these left-wing Etsy witches put a hex on Charlie 2 days before he was killed. And it was like, oh, okay, that's not sus at all. And then that ends up being one of the drivers that, is like, here's what actually happened. It was these people. You know what I mean?
Parts of the film were filmed at the Trump Taj Mahal and Hotel Casino, and the secret camera which films the assassination, but the videographer doesn't let anyone know. And guess what the tagline is of the movie? Believe everything except your eyes. There was a movie.
So you keep that last part in mind. Keep that last part in mind, because at the end of the day, let me ask you guys a common sense question about that right out of the gate. Either this is some kind of foretelling, foreshadowing from a higher power than I'm capable of understanding, or this is a very large publicity stunt that was orchestrated very cleverly by the conspirators to mirror this movie. And maybe it's both. Maybe it's foretold, and maybe also you have a...
Yeah. So when I saw that, I was like, this screams operation. Like, that just screams operation. By the way, Charles Kirkland in that movie, when he gets shot, okay, I'm telling you, dude, and I will stand by this, that if you took the image of Charles Kirkland who gets shot in Snake Eyes, and then you took the image of Charlie Kirk being shot on 9/10 and you superimpose them on each other, like you made one of them have like 50% opacity, I'm telling you, if you line their necks up, the bullet that hit Charlie would go straight through Charlie and hit him exactly where Charles Kirkland was shot in that movie. Like, I'm talking within 1 inch. It is identical where they were both shot. So, like, are we talking progress? Like, what does that even, what does it mean? Predictive programming? And there's other stuff too. Erica Kirk, in her first speech and when she came out on the stage, is wearing an outfit that is nearly identical to the woman who is in that movie, who is Carla Gugino, actually. One of my well-known actress crushes, who I actually ended up running into in the airport while I was watching the Haunting of Hill House, or no. I was watching Fall of the House of Usher, where she's well, I won't sell. If you guys have not seen Fall of the House of Usher, that's my favorite Netflix show ever. Anyway, but I actually met her, super nice. But she played that character in that movie. Gavin, thank you for the super chat. Detroit fan, thank you very much. You, Candace, Ian, Coach, Valhalla are the people I watch. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. Listen, and again, dude, I don't think that any of us have the same conclusion. That's why I think that's cool. Is because, like, dude, I watch the same shows as you. I don't think that Candace and I have ever, even for a second, been aligned on what we think happened. And yet the stuff that she has presented has formed the solid core of what I think happened. It's the same exact evidence with a slightly tweaked, conclusion based on probably, I don't know, our life experience. Like, Candace has said openly that, they're like, who do you think that the blue and white team was behind it? She's like 1000%. She said that on Sean Ryan. And I mean, could you question why she would think that, given her life experience with, over there? It's like, she's seen the worst out of them, the absolute worst. And so, of course that's what she thinks. And mine is, as much as I'm down to bang with people, but my viewpoint is I actually didn't even realize how much I lean towards giving people the benefit of the doubt in terms of people's likelihood to do straight up evil to now. I actually think that this case has helped me understand why certain topics interest me so much. Like, I can't get enough Pizzagate, dude. Like, I will watch Pizzagate anytime there's anything new, because it's so fascinating, because I can't understand them. Like, I understand people. I can't understand that. I can't get myself there. Like, I can't understand how people would do that. I understand being willing to put it all on the line for someone, like the people that you love, your best friends, like being willing to go to the rafters for those guys. I relate to that. And so I, of course, will insert my own kind of like, well, what would I do in this situation? It's like, well, there's no fucking way I would be involved in murdering him, but absolutely I would help him do XYZ if this is why we're doing it. So, like, it's the same evidence, different conclusions based on our own kind of life experience or whatever. You know what I mean? Mandy, thank you very much. Good day, Jesse. No tears, no real emotions of true grief have been shown by TPUSA or anyone in high status. Very sus. I'm with you. Yeah. And it's one of those things. And here's the other thing. Like, people, they interpret that to mean that they're all evil, right? And the reason that I reject that is not because I think it's impossible that there's a big evil group. What it is that there's another emotion that they're not showing, which would be there regardless of whether they're evil. And that is fear of the fucking electric chair. Okay. So that it's like, if there are people and you look at them, if you're very confident in your ability to read people, which I am, again, there are, just like we were talking about in terms of the reason that people are able to make decisions about what they think of a person based on their behavior. It is self-preservation, hardwired into people to pick out predators, right? And so all I'm doing is going, yep, no grief. That makes no sense. Like, you should be very sad, right? But the thing is, like, so then it's like, okay, well, what if they're evil and they're involved? It's like, well, that you're right. That would explain it. However, does anybody think that Mikey McCoy has committed a lot of murders? You know, you think that Mikey McCoy or like any of these people, like, you think that they have a lot of experience committing violent murders and then having everyone suspect them of doing it? Because, like, if you did that and you have the world looking at you like, I know what you did. You have Candace, dude. Literally, what is scarier than Candace pointing a finger at you and being like, I'm going to figure out what you did? Like, you know, people are like, oh, you're a Candace dick rider. I'm like, I am just objective about what she is. She's a fucking dragon, dude. You do not ever want to fuck with her, dude. Like, ever. She is unafraid. She's super smart, and you are not going to change her mind. And so if she fixates on someone in a way where she's like, I'm going to get you, and they know her, dude. So, like, when she starts going, I know what you guys did. Listen, dude, you're telling me they wouldn't be betraying the fact that they're like, fuck, I'm going to get caught. One of them's going to crack, dude. One of them's going to crack. Like, I'll be able to see that, like, he's scared. Like, that guy is scared, and none of them are. None of them are scared. They're not scared, and they're not sad. And so when I look at that, I'm like, well, what could that possibly mean? They're not sad. They're either evil or he's alive, and they're not scared. That doesn't make any, they did not commit a murder because none of them are scared. So what else could it mean? And it's like, I don't know. Is there any evidence that maybe, you know, indicates that, you know what I mean? I mean, for sure, at this point, I have confirmation bias where I will, at least the first thing I look at now is like, all right, so does that fit into this? It's for sure. And I'm completely willing to acknowledge that. But I don't know for sure at all. Like, nobody knows for sure what's going on. Delay. Listen, okay, hang on. Check your ex. I sent you a video where he's talking about influence and power, how they try to take you out if you have too much of it. 3 lives. All right. This is so funny, you guys, because Danielle, this person who is a very, oh, by the way, all the Discord people that we were going to do our Discord Zoom at 2, we're going to start right after this stream, but we're not killing a 9,000 person stream, 9,000 live viewers to go and do 7 people. So we're going to follow that up right after. Ava, I know you and I have a call right after that. So we're going to go from straight here. When we finish, we'll go to Discord, and then from Discord, we'll do your call. But anyway, yeah, Danielle's original name was Double D69. I'm like, okay, first of all, there's no girl on earth that would name themselves Double D69. And then she started sending me DMs and no, really, I am. I'm like, okay, so send a picture of you handwriting Jesse on Fire with 3 fingers, and then they like, it's a boy, dude. You're not going to fool me. Wait, where are you talking about the influence and power? How they try to? Oh, you're talking about Andrew Tate. Okay, I'll check it out. Hey guys, this looks super not AI, huh? It's not AI. Okay, I'll check. I will look at that afterwards. Hi, Danks.
Real quick.
Yeah.
I think because Barrett's going live at noon, bro, and then you're cooking right now. Just do your thing and don't even worry about the show. We'll do it tomorrow.
Okay. Hey, well, tell everybody hi, dude. This is Danks, you guys.
What's up, everybody? Love you all.
Any of you,
fire, no?
Yeah, any of the creators that want to have their own, Discord and run it through Club Vatra, which that's how we kind of facilitate all of it. Hit me or Danks up, and we'll show you how to do it. All right, dude. I'll hit you up later. All right, later. Okay, I'll check that. I'll check that out. I found Rockefeller's butler. Rockefeller ownership butler. Okay. I don't know what that means. But thank you for the super chat. And I assume you're talking about the Butler assassination attempt. But David Watts, thank you very much. Appreciate you, dude. Might be a far out theory. Tyler and Twigs planned it all. Text fake because they were meant to get Twigs off. Totally. 100% I have entertained this exact theory. Like Tyler is playing he's playing the man in the relationship. He's like, I'll take the heat. I've totally considered this. 30-06 used to be caught with they planned all of it for Tyler to also get off because he wasn't shot by a 30-06. It's possible, man. It's possible. But so then if it's those guys, what killed Charlie? You know what I mean? Because you still look. Because it's like, okay, so if Lance and Tyler did it, you still run into the problems with the ballistics. And, I get it's like, okay, well, maybe he could have been shot with like maybe he got shot with a hollow point 45, because that would cause a devastating entry wound and maybe wouldn't exit. And maybe you have a suppressor from an angle that whatever. I mean, that's a tough round to feel confident that you're going to hit something with outside of maybe if you're using let's say you're using a 45 carbine with a suppressor on it. I mean, still, dude, you're going to have to be, well, actually, you know what? With a carbine, you maybe feel good about 80, 100 yards. But again, there's no evidence that that was used. So it's just I don't know, man. It's there's always, it's a hard puzzle to solve, which is why it's so fun to investigate it, and I will certainly acknowledge, I hope I'm right. Cause I fucking hope Charlie's alive, man. I would love for that to be the case. And candidly, if I'm right, it makes me a little bit physically ill to think about if that is true and they have a very selfless, grand reason for doing this. Even if it was original, the inception point of the idea was Charlie wanting to raise his children and not go to prison. If it branched into a widespread, enormous, thing that, because Charlie's a fucking genius, right? He would have come up with a reason that everyone would have to sign on, because you have to have Trump, you have to have cash, you have to have all these guys in on this. And he's going into WITSEC, right? Technically would probably be in witness, whatever. If that is the case, and it is a genuine reason that was meant to help the United States, and then this avalanche of attacks are coming at his organization, it's fuck, man. That would be rough. And you would think that would be really rough on the people around who are eating the shit, But anyway, wait, man, I was actually, hold on. So text or fake planned by Tyler because he was going to get. Oh my God, there was something I was going to show, and I never do that, dude. I had a tangent that I went on and I lost my train of thought. I never do that, dude. I always remember okay, hang on. I'll think of it and I'll come back to that. Thank you for the super chat. Just Jessica, high five. Hello. Thank you. They were after people in TPUSA. They gaslit Charlie. These people are dangerous. They grape kids and laugh about God. Dude. I mean, that's what I'm saying. It's not hard to understand. You know what? Actually, that's a really good moment for me to make this point. So I was talking to Nate about this Valhalla, and it's and first of all, by the way, this last weekend's the first time that Nate and I have hung out in person and our wives hung out. It's it's rare when you get to this. It's dude, Gabrielle fucking loves Nate's wife. Like, loves her. They are so similar. We had such a great time this weekend. I'm just going to throw that out there. It's not relevant at all. It's just what popped into my head. But we had a great time in Las Vegas, like a really genuinely excellent time. Like, our families are going to vacation together now. But like, what we were talking about with this is I was saying, I'm like, you know, what's hilarious is one of the main reasons that I never looked at the blue and white team was because at the time I was extraordinarily naive to that situation. You know, that's the only way that I could describe it. I was very naive. I had never paid a lot of attention to international affairs because I'm like, I don't have room for all that, dude. I care about America. I care about Americans, and I care about, you know, things that I can see with my own eyes, culture war stuff. This matters here. And so I hadn't ever even really taken a hard look at if someone said, I'm telling, I bet you that September 10th of last year, if someone asked me what APAC was, I might not have even known. Like, seriously, that's how little I had looked at this. And so I went into the thing dismissive of that angle because I was like, there's no way, dude. They're like, they're a nation state. If they were going to kill Charlie, they would do it a different way. And especially if TPUSA is involved, they can just slip something in his food. There's no reason for anyone to make a huge spectacle of it if it's them. And I still stand by that, by the way, but I just never even looked in their direction as a result of my complete and total naivete on that topic. And it's funny because that's what ended up leading me to investigate the things I did on the leftists and then this, you know what I mean? Grandma, of course, if CK is alive, wouldn't that mean he is actually a Zionist the whole time, only pretending to be against the white boots? No, I don't think so. If he's running things behind the scenes, how do you explain TPUSA's pivot to supporting the war, etc.? I can absolutely answer that. Okay, so if you go back to when we first attacked the nuclear sites, right? Like, so at the very beginning, like June of last year, before September 10th, Charlie was obviously very clearly against any kind of action against Iran. There's no question about that. He had been very public about that. He had made his thoughts crystal clear. He's against the war. He's against attacking Iran. No conversation. So much so that he was going to Washington and campaigning against it with the president, all of that stuff. Then when Trump hit those nuclear sites, if you watch the follow-up episode, what did Charlie say? He never said that he supported it, but he said he supported Trump. He said, everyone keeps asking me, and my answer is, I support my friend, Donald Trump. Now, why would he say that, and why would he do that? Okay, it's because Charlie is, in addition to, you know, deeply caring about his family and his friends, you know, and that reminded me, I want to talk about that. I want to talk about the Doe style audit email. If someone reminds me, if someone super chats me about the Doe style audit email, that's important. I'm probably going to forget, but he understands relationships and he understands people, right? And everyone has always said that he was a critical peacemaker among all of these people. That's why he could be friends with Kansas. He could be friends with, you know, even though we now know that he has an issue with Ben Shapiro, I guarantee Ben Shapiro did not realize that at the time. Like, Charlie is a connector. He's a person who had good relationships with almost everyone because he understands the people that he's interacting with, and he likes to be in that role. I am just like that. I could give you dozens of examples of people because I came from the combat sports world, like UFC, where these guys who have beef hate each other, fucking despise each other. They've gotten in physical fights. I'm not talking about in the octagon. I'm talking like outside the octagon, have gotten in fights with each other that everyone knows about. Like, they hate each other. And people on that side are friends with me, and they know I'm friends with these guys over here. And it's fine because they know I'm not playing. Like, I'm a connector. I don't do that shit. Like, I'm friends with everybody. Charlie's just like that. And in that situation with Trump, he can't publicly rail against what the decision Trump made because it would poison his relationship with Trump. He knows that. If he comes out and he's critical of that decision, his ability to influence things going forward is gone, right? Also, when it comes to I mean, no one's going to deny that he had relationships with, donors that are obviously very central to that relationship. And TPUSA was built with their money. It is an incredibly precarious situation to be in the position of TPUSA if you are trying to be direct. You almost can't be, as an organization, directly confrontational with this group over here, even if Charlie as the leader believes that. I mean, imagine what this looks like now, So there are certainly examples where I look and I'm like, man, they said that they support that. And I'm just assuming that there has to be some kind of relationship that is where they have to say XYZ. Trump is one of the most predictable people in the world, right? No matter which side you sit on. I mean, I think the majority of us are very disappointed with decisions that he's made, and certainly the position that we find ourselves in. It's still, we have no idea how this is going to end. I mean, this could end as bad as things could possibly be as a direct result of influence that was exerted and decisions he made. But if someone who is an ally of his is ever publicly critical of decisions he's made, he will axe them with no thought. It's like, oh, now you're being critical, gone. And if you have a higher purpose than just your own pride, in many cases, if you prioritize your ability to sway things for the United States, as an example, you're not going to be publicly critical of Trump at all. Not, or at the very least, you're going to be super cautious about it because you'll lose your influence. He's super predictable. This guy, he is literally probably the most predictable person that I've ever looked at and been like, okay, well, how would you play this? And the answer is you never, ever would be critical of him publicly. You would do what the neocons seem to be doing, which is for them, everybody knows they hate him. They hate him. And yet in public, they're telling him that he's the next, he's the Messiah. And he's like, oh yeah, you just stroke his ego. It's not because they actually love him or care about him. It's because he's a simple creature to sway. And so as it relates to your question, that is how I would answer that. Is if you publicly say what you actually think, you're going to lose all of your influence. You know what I mean? Sure. Thank you very much for the super chat. Appreciate you. Would you debate Andrew Wilson on this topic moderated by me? You could stream it to your channel and all that. My producer sent you a couple emails. No, only because Andrew Wilson, you could just tell him he's too good of a debater. He is an exceptional debater, by the way, but I wouldn't debate anything because I don't think that I know anything for sure. What do I know? And the thing is, anything he's going to present, he also won't know for sure. And it'll be boring. Because the way I look at those things is you lose if you stutter and get cracked. He's not going to crack me. He's not going to whatever, but I'm also not going to be making any statements of fact of anything because I won't stand on anything in this case as factual because I don't think that you can prove any of it. Right? Literally, I don't think you can prove any of it. If someone wants to debate, actually, you know what? Well, I don't know. I'm not committing to it. But the position I would take on this case, if someone wanted to debate, is that there is nearly nothing that you can say that for sure. If someone wants to go, oh yeah, Tyler Robinson for sure did this. Then that's it. That's the only thing that I'm arguing against. Maybe I would do that. And I'm a person who's saying he might have done this. The only the only opinion that I'm an adversary of is certainty because there is none in this case. You know what I mean? And Violent Masterpiece, aren't you going to Club Vatra? I was going to, but we made an executive decision. But actually, let me text Ava real quick because her and I are supposed to have a call here. At 3. See you guys. If I commit to something with someone listening, so I'm not sure if you're watching my stream, but whenever I'm done with this, we'll jump on the call. Okay. Thank you, Violent Masterpiece. A Barnes. Okay, can you hear me now? Snake Eyes, Trump Jr., Kalshi, Hollywood in Las Vegas. Did you have fun on your vacation? What hotel did you stay at while in Vegas? We stayed at Venetian, but no, I still don't know what you're saying. I still don't know. Okay, but can you hear me now? Snake Eyes. Yep, I showed it. Trump Jr., Kalshi, right? Hollywood and Vegas. Did you have fun on your vacation? Are you fucking with me, dude? If you're fucking with me, this is really funny. But yeah, Venetian is where we stayed. And I killed, dude. I killed. Okay, so I never gamble money that I can't afford to lose. But this trip, I was on fire, dude. And I will just tell you this one story because so Gabrielle and I, we play this when we play roulette, we play the same numbers every single time. Like we never deviate. We make zero other bets other than we bet our children's ages, our children's birthdays, and then our birthdays and our anniversary. So it's like so 6, 7, 8, 9. I think we play like nine or 10 number. I think we play 10 numbers every roll, and just one on the number, and that's it. We had been killing the entire weekend, and at the very end, like we were playing with Nate and his wife. They were super tired. They went up, and so we were like, okay, we'll just play a little bit more. We hit 7 consecutive numbers, 7 in a row, 7 in a row. We hit. And we were like, I don't know what's going on. Gabrielle had this whole thing where she's like, I've got this. She's like, I'm doing it. I'm doing this right now. And I was like, okay, tell me about it after. She's like, she had this whole system in her head where she's like, she didn't look at the roll. She turned this way. She did this whole like thing, but hit 7 times. And then they came in with a new roulette, like spinner. And we didn't hit the first one. We just bounced. It's so fun when you're winning, man. And it's actually not that bad when you're losing either, but, it was really fun. Okay, Speakeasy, thank you for the super. Okay, let me try again. Would you be? Oh, I'm sorry. I think I just answered that. I'm sorry that I made you do this again. But yeah, dude. Let me actually go in here and I'll give you let me just respond to the email and I'll give you my cell phone number so we can. Because my email is fucked, dude. Hang on for a second. And okay, there you go. Okay. Dude, and Tiny that's my nickname for my wife. So that's funny. Tiny, okay, here you go. All right. I'm sending you my cell and you can text me. That way we can actually talk about this. Okay. Thank you for the super chat. I appreciate you. Hey, everybody can get my number for $28. Just kidding. Israel. Thank you for the super chat. That's a funny name, dude. FYI, you can rent caskets and liners for cheap. That's interesting, dude. Let me check. Let me look at that. I mean, that does actually. Liners. Okay, that's true. Says you can, okay, yes, you can rent casket or coffin. You rent the outer decorative wood or metal shell. You must purchase a brand new single-use interior liner or insert for hygiene and safety. Yeah. Okay, it's most commonly used for visitation or funeral service before cremation. Yep. So that lines up, dude. So that lines up. That is excellent information. Thank you, dude. Because that lines up with exactly what Candace was saying. That's interesting. Let me marinate on that. Granny, thank you for the super chat. Blake Neff was asked, has Charlie been buried on a recent space on an X? He got indignant and said, mind your own business, not where, just if. Weird. Yeah, I know. I heard about that. But again, I'm not, those like little things like that. I hear it. I'm like, I don't like, but what's funny is, because my opinion is well, first of all, and again, it's just an opinion, and like I'm not going to argue with any of my friends about it, but because my opinion is different, I don't, in my like social circle, I don't push it because I don't want it to feel like I'm trying to like push my opinion on them, because I'm not, you know what I mean? But like little things like that happen all the time for me, where I'm like, that's weird, you know, but they're like, and I haven't done any coverage on this theory recently because we have a trial coming up, right? Or we just had a pre-trial, and we're going to get a lot of information that is, you know, could potentially change things as it relates to this entire case. And it's like, I don't want to go into the actual trial with any kind of preconceived notion of what might be happening. I'm trying to be as unbiased as possible, which was easy because immediately what they seemed to be driving towards was what my original hypothesis was, which was that Lance was way more involved. And you can't explain how investigators would have so quickly written him off as a potential suspect. It makes no sense. I remember when that first happened, you know, it was like it was either the governor or the investigators, and they were being so positive and complimentary of Lance Twiggs. And I'm like, hang on, dude. Wait. Charlie just got shot in front of us and killed. And you guys are out here talking about how incredible this this is a trans person that was the boyfriend of the suspected shooter, and you guys just take for granted that they weren't involved. How is that possible? Do you guys not understand how humans work? They lived together, but this guy didn't know that Charlie was going to get shot. Not to mention, this is at the time when there was so much evidence that there was like this army of leftists who all knew that it was coming based on their posts on X. It was like, something's going to happen to Charlie at Utah. It's like 9-10. They're finished, man. They're finished, man. And, you know, there was like, and then also it was like, there was the Hunter Kozak angle too, where this is funny. Actually, I'll tell you guys a story from last week. So, you know, the Hunter Kozak's the guy who did who asked the last question about, you know, trans violence or whatever. And again, I was originally completely convinced that leftists had done this, and Hunter having been on the Unfuck America tour, and the coincidental nature of that question being asked. And then I was watching him doing interviews afterwards, and I was like, he's like a better, like, you know, because he's saying the right things. Like he was saying, he's like, guys, this is not something to celebrate. Like, even though I disagreed with everything that Charlie said or did, like, he's still a person. And I thought he was acting. Like, I was watching and I'm like, that is that. So in my mind, I'm like, that's a person who is behaving like I would expect a conspirator to act, where they're involved. Then when they're put on television, they're going to, you know, they're like going to pretend, you know, oh, isn't he a person? And they're trying to deflect, you know, suspicion on them. So that was my suspicion. And so I focused on him heavily. I offered him first it was $10,000 and $20,000 to take a lie detector test. And I was very publicly, like I was doing that very publicly. And then he reached out to me and we talked, and I'm like, okay, this guy he's like a nice kid, dude. You know, he's a nice kid. This is well before I was on the, you know, maybe this whole thing's not real. And, you know, and I'm sitting there talking to him, and he's telling me he's getting death threats and all this shit. And he said he doesn't want to do the lie detector because he did research and there's like a whatever percent like false positive rate. And he's like, can you take those videos down? And I was like, I'm like, let me sit on it. And I just sat there and thought about it. I'm like, okay, so you see, you know, you feel pretty confident that something is going on and that he seems like, you know, whatever. And I'm like, but what if he's not? You know, what if I'm wrong? And the risk of him being totally innocent and me throwing a bunch of energy in his direction if he didn't do it, I was like, I can't live with that, dude. I can't live with the risk. And so I took the videos down and just stopped pushing the thing. So fast forward last weekend, I'm flying home from Vegas, and I find out that Hunter had done an interview with Brandy and the other girl. I can't remember the other girl's name, but like who had been physically at the trial, Brandy's the one who was calling bullshit on all of the TPUSA people who said, oh yeah, it's perfect HD footage of Tyler Robinson taking the shot. And she's like, what are you talking about? It was nice to meet you, but why are you lying about this? So they, how did this happen? This happened on Sunday after the weekend in Vegas. Right. So Elizabeth Lane had said that she reached out and said that Hunter had said some stuff about me in their interview. And she's like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, well, what did he say? So I end up on the phone with her, I'm like, after I took these videos down, this fucking guy, I'm like, he talked shit about me. I was like, dude. And so I was all like, yes, when I get home, this ungrateful little shit, I'm going to torch him. And then I talked to Brandy. She's like, no. He was actually really, he said that you were really nice, but he said, fuck him because he didn't take the videos down. And I was like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, he didn't say, he said you were really nice, but he said that you didn't take the videos down. And I was like, yeah, but I did. I did take the videos down. And she's like, I don't know. And I was like, well, tell him because they were going to see him. I'm like, tell him that if he can find the videos, all they have to do is text them to me and I'll take them down because I said I would. But then here's what's interesting. Okay. What's interesting is that he also said that I had chosen not to do that I had let go of the lie detector because he sent me text messages that proved that he had been telling the truth. And I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, that's what he said. And I was like, yeah, but are you positive? She's like, yeah, that's what he said. And I was like, but you guys know I offered to do the lie detector. So I need to go look at exactly what was said in this interview because I think that there's either a miscommunication or whatever. But Hunter is a nice kid. Okay. Hunter, I don't believe would be involved in a murder, most likely. But in the event that this thing that we interacted with was misrepresented, which I'm going to go check, then, we can have a further discussion on it. Like I said, I've talked to this kid. He's a nice kid. Don't fuck with him. Unless I go and check and he's lied. But at this point, I don't think that is the case, but I'll go check. But yeah, because that's one of those ones though, where with Hunter, I'll tell you my exact thought process on all of this stuff. Right. So once I get to, what if they hoax this thing? Right. And then, it's pretty coincidental that you have this kid ask, what about trans violence 1 second before he gets shot? And it's like, well, that's why I was suspicious of him in the first place. But then, okay, now if I run him through the what if it's a hoax, that causes problems for me. That's one of those ones that actually does cause problems because I'm like, well, it would have made sense in the other scenario, but Hunter Kozak's dad was he's a producer for Jimmy Kimmel, who is not an ally of Charlie at all. And so, yeah, so that one is actually, I'm literally just thinking this now. That one would actually be that would be a problem for the hoax theory for sure. Or it's a hoax that he's not in on it at all. You know what I mean? But wouldn't that have been, dude, imagine that, dude. Imagine if that was just a stone coincidence that you have, a well-known Unfuck America tour guy come up and go, talk to me about the stats when it comes to trans violence. And he's like, counting or not counting gang violence. Bang. And that's just a coincidence. It's like, wow, that is only one way to look for that. If that's a coincidence, there's only one place to look for that, because that is too much of a coincidence to be anything other than the big guy, I think. Okay, cool. Brandon Green says, it's an old school WWE trick that whenever a wrestler is going to be bleeding in a match, they will often wear white to make the blood as impactful as possible. Mm-hmm. Yep. Charlie never wore white shirts. Thank you for saying it, because I almost was going to get through this whole stream without pointing out the fact that in the event that was a genuine wound, my hypothesis is that this is what his shirt should have looked like afterwards. Just saying. I have a black one and I have a red one. But honestly, these shirts, dude, are super sick. This is a great shirt. Okay. And I will remind everybody there is merch now, and there's a link in the description, my merch. But this merch, the TPUSA merch, like this, the actual base shirt is fire. Look at how well it fits, dude. It's not like a muscle shirt, but it fits. It's a great shirt, dude. In case any of you guys wanted to roll this, especially people who cover this case, because it works. You know what I mean? Look at that, Erica. I could contribute to the next $250,000 of merch sales, which for some reason is the front and center thing that we're focused on, after the memorial, as opposed to something else, Is Danks Elizabeth's secretary? Who is the executive producer? No, he's not their secretary. He's not Elizabeth's. He's neither the executive producer or the secretary. Is Elizabeth Lane director of operations, or is Farmer director of what? I have no idea what this means. Of what operations? And I don't even know I have no idea who Farmer is. What are we talking about? The director of operations in what? Listen, dude. As much as I feel like you're breaking my balls, you are definitely the MVP of this stream for sure. But Farmer. Hang on. I have no idea what that means. Elizabeth Lane. Farmer. I just looked up Elizabeth Lane and it's not Elizabeth Lane. I don't know. But her and I are going to be doing a stream tomorrow, and you can come ask her. Oops. Rabbit 762 by 63. What the F ever? What the F ever? You're lucky I'm scared of you. I have no idea what that means, but wait, what did I say about you, dude? I don't see it. I don't know what you mean. But thank you for the super chat. Vloskin, the guy that asked Charlie the question on the day he was shot was caught on video practicing his reaction before he took the mic. Yeah, I know. I chose not to bring that up at this moment because I want to go look at what he said before I start having that conversation again. Auto hoax. Thank you for the super. What are the mathematical odds that CK gets shot right after he's talking about trans shooters with Hunter Kozak, a known enemy of TPUSA? Not very good. Not very good. Not very good. But again, we'll come back to that. I talked to the kid. Seems like a nice kid. And again, that honestly, that is too complicated of a talk track for me to even go down, but very low, obviously. Charlie Kirk is Seth MacFarlane. All right. Is the shirt with why so sad? Is the shirt with why so sad on the back a one-off? Are you referencing the one that I wore? Like the one that I wore? I can't remember if I approved that shirt. Okay. Because like what they're talking about is in the merch, there was one shirt where, okay, so like you guys remember when the correspondence dinner thing happened and Erica was walking out, and then you heard like someone in the background as she's walking by crying, and they're all, why so sad? I saw a TikTok on that where it was just like, this guy's like, I can't unhear it, man. He's like, every time I watch it, I can't unhear it. It's like, why so sad? And so I laughed about it. And so someone made a design that was like it's Erica Kirk and it says, why so sad? And then that was on the original set of like proposed merch. And I wore it. And then I literally, while I was like live, I realized I'm like, oh, if I didn't think that this thing was a hoax, this would be psychopathic. Like this is a psychopathic shirt. And I was saying like, that I mean that I like that this is my number one hypothesis based on the fact that I would fucking never wear a shirt like that if I didn't, believe that. But I think I might have been like, I don't think that I can sign off on that one. I'm not sure. I'll revisit that. Brooks, thank you very much. Love your content, brother. Just finished work and tuned in. Keep it up 100. Thank you so much, man. Appreciate you. All right. So now I'm going to go over and show you guys the thing about the rifle. Okay. So check this out. And this needs to be interactive. Okay. So let me show you this. Okay. So we're going to go here. Everybody remembers, obviously, this photograph, right? So this is the photograph that we were showing. It was like, here's Tyler's rifle, right? Here it is. And, oh, you know what? Yeesh. I just realized this is the kind of thing that they will kill streams over. So I'm just going to show it super fast, right? And then I want everyone to discuss. So what I always point out, right, is that first of all, that firearm is not a World War II Mauser. That's not what a World War II Mauser has. A wood grain stock. It's also, if you bought like the exact replica of that, it's like 15 grand, right? This, right here is just it looks like every just run of the mill, like kind of inexpensive 30-06 hunting rifle. It looks just like a Ruger American. It looks like there is a like a Mauser version of that, but it's like the idea that anyone could tell what type of firearm that is from that picture is hilarious, right? Now, there are two things about this that I wanted to point to. Okay. Number one was about the box. Okay. It was about the box that it's in. And I'm not going to show it because I don't want to, like, you guys have seen that picture plenty of times, I'm sure. Right. So what I'm not sure that everyone has realized, and what I was referencing when I said it was right in front of me the whole time, is how many hunting rifles or just rifles in general, have you guys bought? Because I bought a lot. And so I'm embarrassed that I didn't put this together before. And I looked at it and I'm like, wait a minute, dude. What is this box? I was like, that's what the rifles come in. Like if you buy a rifle, it comes in a box just like that. Right. And so I'm like, did they literally just open a box, like buy the rifle and then go and then open it up and be like, here it is, guys. Like, I'm like, why is it in a box? Now, what my guys in my, the other, smarter investigators than me that I'm in the group chat with, they were like, yeah, but that's like an evidence box. And I was like, okay, so that's their story, is that this is an evidence box. And that's why it is in a box. It's not like it just got purchased and opened. It's an evidence box. Okay. Well, so, okay. When I looked up, rifle evidence boxes, right? I looked them up to see what they look like. Okay. That's number one. And as an example, okay, here is one that I found right here. Okay. So that's an evidence box right there, which is all brown on the inside. Okay. You can see it. That well, you know what? Actually, I'm sorry, not brown on the inside, brown on the inside and white on the outside. Right. So the reason that that's important is because when you look at the pictures that were shown in the trial, okay, which are different than the pictures that we were just looking at, and I'll show you that right now. Okay. So I'm going to do this really fast, and you guys can go look these up yourself. Okay. So this is the picture from the trial. Okay. That's the picture that is the evidence in the trial. Now, what you see in this picture that I just showed, super fast, evidence from the trial, super fast, is you could see that the insides are folded down and they're white, right? It's a white outside box, and so when you create the box, it's white on the inside. When you look at the image from the photo originally, and you see this, okay, There's no, you do not see the white that is folded over, number one. And every single picture, every single one that I can find of the original photograph, right? The ends are cut off. You can't find a picture from the original one where you can actually see the ends of the box, where you would be able to compare the two boxes. Okay. So there's something weird going on with the box. But here, even more important, okay, is so the picture we're about to look at is the picture that they have been saying all along is the rifle that killed Charlie, right? So have you guys ever zoomed in and taken a hard look at the scope? Because if you do, what you're going to see is, you know what, actually, I'm going to avoid any problems by doing this. Hang on. I'm going to screenshot this and then I'm going to, because this is important that you can see, like, you can see super up close, and that actually helps with the problem. Okay. So, boom. And then let me pull this up from this file. What the? Oh, there we go. Okay. Sorry, I'm sketchy. It's sketchy to oh man, that doesn't show it very well. Okay, watch this. Ready? Super fast. Is this scope connected to this rifle? Yes or no? Look close. Scope's not even connected. It's not even connected. Okay. And I'll take let me get a better screenshot so you can actually see you can see where you zoom in, and literally it's like, I can't tell if it's AI or if it's like, or if they just placed it there or what. But I'm trying to see the best way that you can see it without putting the stream in jeopardy. Let me open that again. This is scary, dude. You know, but nonetheless, like, okay, here you go. Okay, that's perfect. Now, watch this. Check this picture out of this. Does this look like that is connected to the rifle? Because that seems like it's not, right? Like this is not connected to that rifle. And I don't even know what's going on over here, but this connection is not connected. And that, I promise, I absolutely promise, and you can go look it up yourself, that is the photograph of the recovered rifle that they said was the one Tyler Robinson shot him with. It's not, the scope's not even connected. And it kind of looks like it's just like superimposed there or something. Like, look at that. Like this looks, I mean, I don't know. I'm not like this right here, this line right here looks like there's like a shadow there or something. And it's like, it's over top. And it's also, it's like, it looks like the scope itself is behind this piece. And then they just superimpose like a shadow or something. I don't know. This looks wrong, right? Like that looks wrong, right? Looks super, super weird, you know? And then that's also supposedly the rifle that does not have, didn't have any dust in it, which is a pretty big problem also. Adam Watts, what's up, dude? Good to see you, my friend. Regarding the 30-6, gotta use lead tipped core locked. Did you one shot channel? I saw that and it stopped after the headshot in the first 1 inch of the gel. I actually saw that though. I saw that. I saw that footage. It's weird though, because again, Nate did the exact same thing and he did it with this gigantic pig and he just said it just obliterated this thing, but yeah, I did see One Shot. One Shot's good people, dude. He's a good dude. I think his name's also Jesse, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I did see that. It went through it obliterated the skull, but then it stopped in the gel after going through, but it still went through. You know what I mean? Like it still went through, but it didn't penetrate super deep into the gel block afterwards. But yeah, I did see that. Same shit, different shirt. Yep. And son of Emerson, what's up, dude? Thank you for being you. Love you, brother. Thank you. I love you too, my man. Appreciate you. So, you know, it's like, let me see. Some forensic examiners would normally give more information on what type of dust they refer to. If it's dirt and soil, mineral dust, all that. You know, listen. So I know that Barron's got a good show today that you guys should definitely watch. Let me just say that. Like Barron's gonna be showing some good stuff today. And at the end of the day, dude, the thing that's so challenging about this entire thing is like, I don't feel like I'm ever going to get to know for sure if it, you know, if I'm right. It's like, I feel like pretty confident, but again, if you know, you're never going to know for sure. It's tough, dude. It is tough. Let me see if there was anything else I wanted to make sure that that I cover here before I hop off. I will say this. I saw this thing. I meant to cover this yesterday. Whoops, not that. Yikes. I meant to cover this, which was, I think I even did a segment and then I forgot. Like, I don't know, it like didn't get in. But this whole thing, like with like Lisa knows, she's like, you know, she's talking about like people getting doxxed and all that. Dude, like, no, don't participate in that stuff. You know, like, of course, if people are saying shit that you disagree with them. But like, don't, you know, again, people can do whatever they want. My contribution to that type of conversation is like, even if you think that you despise whoever, don't get involved in doxing shit. Just don't get involved in any of that stuff. Cause like none of this stuff is worth people getting hurt over. None of this stuff is worth. It's like, I mean, you know, obviously like if someone shot and killed Charlie, they can fucking get it, dude. But people disagreeing about what they're looking at, even if they're compromised, even if you think that, you know, they're compromised, like it's just, it's fucking bad for your soul. It's bad for whatever side you're on. It's all bad. Like, don't dox people. Don't harass people. Don't do that stuff. You know what I mean? If someone brings a problem to you close, that's a different thing. But like, I don't know. Whenever I read this stuff where it's like, you know, oh, I'm, you know, now I'm getting doxed, or like, oh, people are saying that I doxed them. Like if she doxed someone, fuck that shit. But also don't dox her. You know, it's just like the swatting stuff, all that. That is, dude, that is bad. That is bad behavior. It's not good for anybody. I am fully against it every single time. I also saw the thing about like that Bongino, you know, I covered this yesterday where like Bongino's like, listen, someone's going to die. And you're like, what is that? I mean, like, what are you referencing, dude? And if that's the case, you know, why? I don't, you know, it's like, if you know something about that, like, why are we being cagey about it? If there's like a legitimate threat on someone's life, like, let's go arrest somebody. You know what I mean? Like, this is no sunglasses. I'm not joking. It's like, if there's like genuinely people who are plotting to hurt Erica Kirk, fucking arrest them for sure. Arrest them and anyone who knew about it. If they're trying to hurt Bongino, arrest them, dude. I am equal opportunity on that kind of thing. It's like, dude, no one should get involved in political violence under any circumstances, and they should never support it. You shouldn't make jokes about it happening to people. It's bad. Like, it's all bad. And it'll end up coming back on. God hates that shit, man. I'm telling you. Okay, so let me see. Let me see what else, dude. Oh my goodness gracious. I forgot about this, dude. Well, I need to go film this video that I'm going to do because I'm going to cover one of the most prominent legal minds in the country who has now come forward to say that the prosecution cooked themselves in the Tyler Robinson case. And I intentionally didn't watch it, but I'm going to watch it now. I'm going to watch it now, and I'm going to do a video on it because I have a feeling that this gentleman is going to know a lot more than I do. He's about as credible as you're going to get in trial law. Anyway, all right. You guys are the best. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for hanging out. This is an awesome stream. I'm going to go do some work, and thanks for hanging out. Subscribe to the channel, like the video, tell your friends, and check out the merch, check out the Discord and the clips channel, because there are definitely going to be a lot of clips from this stream. So thanks for hanging out. Love you guys. Bye-bye.